Hello, friends. You're now listening to the lifestyle, leisure, and sports show you never knew was two of those things.
I think we can all acknowledge that if this fails, you two will be fired and I will remain. So, no pressure.
Beau Bishop, a regional media icon, winner of Emmys, purveyor of the good life.
Sir, you don't know that for a fact.
I just said it on the radio.
Also, two guys this company named Employee of the Month.
What are you talking about?
Paul Hogan is Hulk Hogan's brother. Look it up.
Because it's Hulk Hogan. That's his real name.
One guy is from Australia. The other one is from Tampa.
And he's from Hollywood, brother.
Not brothers. Chops.
Yes, they are.
This is Bishop and Friends.
Oh, baby, let's do it live on a Monday edition of the program. Beau, Fake, Tim May.
Yes.
Tim May live on a Monday, baby, in the flesh. How you doing, pal?
Doing extremely well. I was headed to go hit golf balls and possibly play, find a game somewhere. And the call came from NORAD that something was coming over Canada and they needed me in the studio. So here I am, Beau.
Well, and I'm greatly appreciative. It was late notice, and we're thrilled to have you, my friend, as any time that we would. I had a weekend, Tim. I had a bit of a weekend. I had I was skeptical when I saw the schedule for the boys' youth lacrosse travel program, and it said Rockford, Illinois. Now, I'd not been to Rockford. Have you been to Rockford, Illinois?
Oh, yeah. I covered a MAC tournament there one time. And matter of fact, I spent the night on the way to Wisconsin. Well, I'm trying to remember. I spent the night there recently, though. I know that on my way to somewhere. But yeah, Rockford, Illinois. You got to want to be there.
That should be on the line on the sign when you drive in. You got to want to be there.
Yeah.
It was actually Love's Park. So this is what they've done. I know you know this, and a lot of our audience who has kids in youth sports, this is what they've done. They've built as it turns out, fields and fields of grass and field turf and indoor things. Really, sometimes in the middle of nowhere. Like I got to go to one in Indiana in Westfield in like a month. I got to go to one in some suburb northern Chicago. One in Maryland. Like every weekend, it's this type of thing. So when I saw Rockford, I went, that's further in Illinois north than I've ever been, and it was all of that. I've come to the conclusion that there are a few things in life that I hate more than Chicago traffic. Now, is there a way around?
Yeah, there is.
So all right. I want to hear this from you. So Friday, kind of on us. We stopped at South Bend, and I want to get to that with you in a second. Because I've not been to South Bend.
Yeah.
And so we stopped at South Bend to show the boys South Bend. So we were coming through Chicago around 4:00 Central. So that's on me, right? I get it. That's on me. Can't help it. So that was what should have been like a 6.5, 7 hour drive ended up being 12 by the time you did the stop at Notre Dame and everything. It was like 12. But on the way back yesterday, Tim, I was taking 294 around Chicago, and you're cackling because you know how this is going to go.
I know 294 doesn't go. 294 goes literally right through the middle of the Chicago splat or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? Megaplex.
Right, so the Waze is telling me to go this way. It's saying this is the fastest way.
Yeah.
And it's Sunday at 3:30. Like it's a Sunday, Tim.
I know,
There's
man.
no reason.
It's like Houston. Yeah.
Why is there traffic on a Sunday at 3:30 outside of Chicago? And then it was worse at the Indiana border. I mean, the Indiana toll police people, the toll people at Indiana, that's a scene, man. As you're trying to get, everything's got a gate still. Like you're not just driving through. People can't get their easy passes to work. It's a mess. It's a total mess. So that area, which ended up being about 28 miles, when we popped into it on the Waze, it said you will be in traffic for 58 minutes.
Wow.
And that is a punch in the gut.
Yes.
Like few that can be delivered by Fred.
Yeah.
So what's my route around?
Well,
what would be my way to avoid it? Can you?
I avoid Chicago at all costs, but that's the way I roll. I mean, I always look at Chicago. You can get through there in 35 minutes or 3 hours, and you got to build both of those into it, right?
That's right.
And then when you count on the 35, you don't get it. And when you count on the 3, you go right through there and you're early. But coming from Columbus, like I drove up to Wisconsin, I drive almost everywhere I can, and I'm not afraid to fly. I flew when I was soloed in an airplane when I was 16, for goodness sakes, But I always go, from Columbus, but you're not necessarily coming from the Columbus area the way you go.
Right.
I'm 70 to 74 to 39 up the middle of this is going to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Up to 39 up the middle of basically Illinois up through Rockford, Beloit, and to Madison. And I'm telling you, you can always count on flying through that area. And but no, I avoid, and I'm a stickler, Beau, for my map telling me where the knots are, where the as I call them, the clots are, and the big red clots are the ones I avoid. But you can get off roads like, if you're going to downtown Chicago, get off at Stony Island or whatever it is, Parkway, and go up that way, go by the where the World's Fair was long ago, and University of Chicago, and go that way and get on lakefront and things like that. But you were having to go all the way through
it. You were through it, around it.
Yeah, you were executing open heart surgery, which is always. You almost always run into complications. There's hardly any way to avoid the way you were going from getting into some kind of mess around O'Hare,
it's
wherever.
Just a disaster. They were merging for no reasons. Nobody knows how to merge.
Right.
Like, everyone's getting all the way over when there's no reason to. Like, they can't zipper merge.
That's like Houston traffic. I was driving in Houston traffic a week ago, and just you got people going 45, and you got people going 145. And it's like it's crazy. So
it was salted. The wound was salted on Saturday. So the boys we played so much lacrosse, as you do in these things. Anyone who's got youth sports knows how this goes. We played a game. Our first game was at 7 a.m. Saturday morning for Beamsy, my middle. And then our last scheduled game was at 5:40 p.m. for NBC, my oldest. And so NBC was playing for the right to play in the championship, and they lead the whole game. They're up 1-0, 2-1, 3-2, take 3 penalties in the last 10 minutes, tied at 3, and then the first time I've ever seen this, a legitimate buzzer beater in lacrosse. Now, it's fine. Like, you play a tournament all the time, so we end up losing at the buzzer. Here's the kicker. Had we won that game, we would have played for the championship, which was a noon Central start. Okay? Now, we played in the third place game at 12:50. So now I've lost another 50 minutes getting home to be valedictorian of summer school. Thanks for that, boys. That's how that worked. That was great. I loved it.
Hey, they got rid of the third place game in the NCAA tournament for a reason, right?
What are we doing?
Nobody cares.
We're playing for third place.
Especially the teams playing for it. They're just trying to give you your money's worth, man. Hey,
my money's worth to let me go home. That's my money's worth.
By the way, I meant to tell you something many weeks ago. I heard you talking with the fellas. It might have been Beamer and Bobby before you did a show one time, and you were talking about a lacrosse tournament you were at where all of a sudden the official just quit. And he got upset, and the other team had a guy who said was
He's
certified. Yeah,
he's certified.
And they kept screaming, "He's certified! He's certified!" It reminded me of "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" Yeah. He's bona fide.
He's bona fide.
He's bona fide. I was just immediately thinking that. I'm just going, yeah, that's what you want calling a close game is somebody from the other team, even though he's certified. Yeah,
that was I got chased out of
Major League Baseball umpires are certified, but we see that where that goes, right? But I just want to let you know that's stuck in my head forever. I don't know. I can't remember what I had for lunch yesterday, but go ahead.
That what you had? So I'd never been to South Bend, and so in turn, the boys had never been to South Bend. My wife had never been to South Bend. So thought, well, this will be a nice kind of stop along the way. So we stopped at South Bend. I could not believe, Tim, how close it was off the turnpike.
Oh yeah.
For starters, like it's 2 miles. Like if you're ever on that road and you haven't, it's really worth it. It's awesome. I was pretty humbled by the place, buddy. I got to tell you, I thought it's the best job of modernizing the campus while keeping the look and feel that you would expect at Notre Dame that I've seen on any college campus I've ever been on.
I've always said, this is back in the day though, if you're a big time football player and you go there and you also have some sense of nostalgia, why would you even consider somewhere else? It looked like a movie set to me.
It does.
First time I ever covered a game there was 1981 or 82, somewhere in that area. Maybe 1983. It's a Jerry Faust era. That's how long ago it was. And that was back when it was the old stadium, which I thought was literally near perfect. the way it was built. The press box, it felt like you were sitting almost on top of the field. It just had a great feel to it. And obviously you didn't have to stand up to see Touchdown Jesus and all that stuff. But I went over to the Newt Rockne Hall and these things in the lake, and I just kept remembering why Joe Willie Namath said he didn't go there. And he said something to the effect of, he took the tour and he goes, I'm not going anywhere where you got to swim a lake to get to the women. Yeah, because it was not co-ed. It was not co-ed then, throughout the university. Because the College of Lake St. Mary's was across that lake, which that lake, you've seen in Rudy a million times. If you've ever watched Rudy a million times, you just kind of go, wow, man, and it really did fit the bill. When they expanded the stadium, I thought it changed it a little bit, And then we're there I was there in 96. Was the last time I was there to cover a game until this past year. And I didn't realize they had put the press box on the east side of the stadium, which tells you they don't give a damn about the media.
No,
because
we're done. You're done.
Until the sun went over the crest of the west side of the stadium, Beau, the sun was directly in our eyes, and right at kickoff, or just right at before kickoff and stuff. But sometimes you can take something and make it, just maybe squeeze a little too much lemon juice out of it. I think that's what they did with that stadium to a certain extent. But, that whole area. And then all of a sudden you go 5 blocks one direction and you're going, wait a minute, are we still in
right? Are we still in
where God
the
same
football
city
to be played? Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like it's interesting because I remember James talking about this all the time about, the challenges that Notre Dame presents in recruiting. It's a tough place to get to. It's cold, kind of in the middle of nowhere, all of those things. And I remember him saying this, and I think it applies very much to what Marcus is trying to build there. And it looks like he's going to have a hell of a team this year.
Yes.
You are at Notre Dame, you are recruiting a certain type of player and really a type of person, because it is not going to be for everybody.
Nope.
There's no question about it. But the ones that it's for, I'm guessing, are all in on it. But they're throwing a ton of money at it. You see there's all sorts of construction all around the campus. But they had a bunch of recruits there when we were there, just kind of walking around and stuff. Yeah. And it was a nice day.
Yeah, and it's a cool place to be on a game because there's statues everywhere. There's things. Oh, I remember. You know what I mean? Especially if you're my age. I'm 70. I can remember all the way back to Notre Dame games. Being on. We used to watch the next day or whatever, the highlights, highlights type thing in the 60s down in Texas, believe it or not. Some station down there carried it. And and this was before, you could get 1,000 stations. When you had cable, you had like 7 stations. But the bottom line was, it just strikes, but it has to be a certain guy. And it's funny because I interviewed, maybe we'll talk about that in a minute with Gene Smith, but we were talking about how Ohio State has gotten into that realm too now. You don't get these calls in the middle of the night anymore. I mean, you've got guys. I mean, you saw their team APR this year was right there with Harvard. Are you kidding me? I mean, it is a different type of student athlete that Ohio State's gone after over the last 20 years, and it's really paid dividends.
Yeah, I'll put a ribbon on it. I thought Notre Dame probably was the best job I've ever seen. Of a campus melding what it was and what it is trying to be, and it all looked the same.
Good point.
Like their branding was perfect.
Yeah.
Every blue was the same, every gold was the same, which is ironic because they've changed uniforms a bunch, but like everything on the whole campus, it just all married. It made
just
sense.
like Ohio Stadium. Not just like Ohio Stadium. They don't have grass anymore. They've got artificial turf.
That sucks. I don't like. I think that part sucks. But the rest of it, I think they pretty much knocked out of the park. Gene Smith's last day. This was the exchange of power. Tim and I are going to get into that coming up next. It is a big day in college football as well because the SEC officially expands. We'll get into that. All sorts of fun. I put a 12-team playoff bracket. Everybody's doing it, so I'm going to do it. I put one together. We'll run it by Tim coming up at 10 o'clock as well. And Porty on a very busy time for the Jackets. We're off and running. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Head to 971thefan.com to listen on demand and subscribe to all our podcasts. Wasting time has never been easier. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Roof leaks can mean expensive repairs unless you work fast. Legacy Roofing, the leader in Central Ohio commercial roofing, can repair, replace, and maintain your roof to avoid costly damage. At Legacy, we're famous for fast, reliable, safe, and permanent protection for your roof. Our technicians are skilled craftsmen trained by industry leaders like Carlisle, Versico, and Elevate to create lasting roofing systems to protect your investment. Call Legacy Roofing Services today, 800-880-ROOF, 800-880-ROOF. Legacy Roofing Services.
I need a small order of sheet metal to repair something in the shop. It's not much, but can you help me out?
At Metal Supermarkets, no order is too small.
Wait, really?
Yep.
What about small home projects?
Yep.
For a car I'm working on?
Yep.
Any kind of metal?
Yep.
Cut to size?
Yep.
With no minimum order?
Yep.
How about 1,000 cut pieces of aluminum flat bar?
Yep. Choose from over 8,000 types, shapes, and grades of metal in any quantity you need. And yes, we're serious. Any metal, any size, ready fast. Locally owned on Wilson Road.
Hey folks, it's Austin Ward. Know what's tricky? Producing a lot of compelling off-season football content. Know what's not tricky? Continuing to come up with reasons why you should do what I did and call Awaken 180. I dropped 45 pounds in just 10 weeks, and to this day, it's still gone, plus 10 more pounds. Calling it magic is an understatement. Awaken 180 isn't just about losing weight, it's about finding a new balance. Especially with that GLP-1 hormone everyone's talking about. GLP-1 Balance by Awaken 180 is the quicker, safer way to adjust what your body needs without relying on daily meds or injections. My doctors are impressed, and honestly, so am I. Awaken 180 is a sustainable change that's backed by more than just my success story. Over 22,000 others share the same success. If your doctor's pushing for another prescription, ask them about GLP-1 Balance by Awaken 180. The support doesn't stop when you hit your goal either. Free support for life. Check it out, awaken180weightloss.com. Doctor approved, Austin Ward endorsed.
One of the most important Buckeye football seasons ever is coming. The Fan is your home for all the news and interviews you need as fall camp approaches. Join us. We're a friendly bunch of degenerates. Your Buckeye station, The Fan.
Tires worn down from all the summer driving? Come into your local AAA Car Care Plus this month and save $160 on select sets of 4 Continental tires. Only at AAA Car Care Plus locations. Offer ends July 31st. See store for details.
It's the symphonic rock experience everyone's talking about. The Columbus Symphony Orchestra performs Windborne's The Music of Led Zeppelin, featuring conductor Brent Havens, a full rock band, and vocalist Randy Jackson. The hits of Led Zeppelin performed as you've never heard them before. Saturday, July 6th, the Columbus Commons. Get tickets now at picnicwiththepops.com. Full details at windbornemusic.com. Presented by Nationwide Picnic with the Pops.
At UDF, our made-from-scratch peach ice cream is back with a bonus. When you buy 3 48-ounce cartons, you can quickly stack an extra 20 cents a gallon in gas savings. UDF peach ice cream, made for you, while supplies last with an opted-in UDrive account.
Have you experienced foot or ankle pain during or after sports, running, or exercising at the gym? Nagging aches in your foot or ankle that won't go away? Podiatric physicians can provide you with important foot care solutions, shoe inserts, or show you how to support your feet and ankles so you're able to compete or exercise comfortably. Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association podiatric physicians are located throughout the state and have been serving the profession and the public for over 100 years. For more information or to find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit ohiofoot.org.
Ohio's public schools are safe, welcoming learning environments where everyone can thrive, no exceptions. Thanks to the nearly 120,000 public school educators in the Ohio Education Association. We are dedicated professionals who deserve respect, a living wage, and a seat at the table when decisions are made. And we're using our united voice to demand the supports and resources our students need to succeed. Because in Ohio, public education matters.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
A lot of sunshine out there today with a high of 78. Tonight will cool off to about 56. And then on your Tuesday, look for mostly sunny skies with a high of 88. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your Doppler 10 forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Distilled sports discussion served in light beer quantities. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
And the Schmitz-Cardale-Jones Celebrity Softball game is coming. Why pick Nick when you can Schmidt-Nick? And it's presented by Monogram Homes in the U.S. Air Force. It's Saturday, July 20th, 6:30, Huntington Park. Current Buckeye players against former Buckeye players. Cardale is a captain of the former guys. Emeka is a captain of the current guys. Tickets are $10 and available today at BuckeyeCruise.com. Bake, who's the favorite in this one? Current or former?
I think we've got to go former. The former waxed them last year, and they still got Emeka, the home run derby champ. So I got to go with the current guys.
Oh, so the current guys won big, last year too.
I might have said former. That's my bad. The current guys, they smoked them.
All right, there you go.
They call that, I think they play that in New Jack City, don't they? Because then everybody just try to jack it.
Well, wouldn't you try to?
Yes.
That's a great movie, by the way. Nino Brown?
Yes. Absolutely.
That's a good one. That's a very good one. All right, we've got a changing of the guard officially. It's been headed this way for a long time. We knew it was coming, but the Gene Smith era is officially over at Ohio State, my friend. You know Gene very well. I know him pretty well. When you are an athletic director for this long at a place like this, it is really rare. You've accumulated a ton of power through the years. You've had to make some incredibly important, vital decisions for the operation. You are mostly judged on who you hire as a football coach, a men's basketball coach, and if you're building buildings. That's kind of the things that you usually say. Can you build buildings and hire coaches? At the end here, he got a chance to do it in a very big way on both the basketball and the football side of things. He built a lot of buildings, Tim. There's nothing you can do with the shot. There's nothing you can do with the shoe. But everything else around there is completely unrecognizable from when I came here, let alone, my goodness, when Gene got here. So, and he beat me here by a couple of years. When you look back on the tenure, what are the highlights, and if any, what are the lowlights?
Well, number one, I interviewed him on his last, his last day of doing interviews. I was his last interview on Thursday of last week, and I said, hey, I want to meet you somewhere in a building that matters, that just jumps out at you as an achievement during your stay. And he picked the Shoemaker Complex, which used to be the Biggs facility, you know what I mean? And it was the first purpose-built sort of like football facility in the Big Ten. And, it turned into what it is now. The Woody Hayes Athletic Center's on the east end of that. And the Shoemaker Complex took over the footprint and enhanced it by like tenfold for the other sports, the Olympic sports. And that was a big deal to him because, it gave these other places legitimate, really nice homes. And, of course, then across the way there was the Covelli Center and the Jennings Wrestling Complex, the Ty Tucker Tennis Complex, which everybody's proud of there. And, obviously the team has turned that way. And so it was very interesting because I told him I wanted to meet the place that meant the most to him. And what stands out to me is how under his tenure they for sure gave everybody else the wherewithal to compete on the national level. I'm talking about all the other sports other than football and men's and women's basketball. And the sport he's most proud of, because I pinned him, I just said, give me one. And he said, women's ice hockey. Nadine Muzzerall. I mean, 2 straight national championships says it all, and or 2 out of 3, and right on down the line. I mean, just that came out of zero to almost zero to what it is now. Now, does every program in the country have a women's ice hockey program?
That's
no.
What I want. Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you about.
Yeah.
So I find that so fascinating. He said that's what he's most proud of, and we talked about it.
Well, no, he just no. I'm
not putting words in your mouth. So I'm just saying that's the one that he said, and that he was proud of that, and he should be, all of it.
Yeah.
But I've always made kind of the argument that what Ohio State has done with its athletic department over the last 25 years, while it is awesome, it's not good business, if that makes sense, because you are spending a lot of money to elevate all of these sports.
Wait a minute, let me interrupt you.
That's what I was saying. Let me just play.
Okay, good.
Because I think this is going to get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
So they've spent all these money on these other sports. Ohio State wanted to be Stanford in athletics, and they want to be Alabama in football and Carolina in men's basketball.
Yeah.
But they want to be Stanford and everything else. At the end of his tenure, is it appropriate that he's saying, I'm good, as I don't know if that model is viable or will be viable at all as soon as next year?
Well, that's why it was so symbolic that we were sitting in the Shoemaker Complex in the little mess hall, I call it there, but the little study area, which is really sweet. I used to sit in there write my stories till you had to have a thumbprint to get in.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
yeah, and because it's not going to be the same henceforth. You know, things are changing, and this is a real inflection point for a place like Ohio State and the athletic program it is built, because they're not going to be able to fund everybody on what you'd call that national level. Right now, I haven't heard of any plan to get rid of a sport, at least yet. They're going to maintain this 36 varsity sports lineup in some form or fashion, but everybody knows, including this, now you're waiting in line. Football is going to be fully funded. Men's and women's basketball is going to be fully funded. And then from then on, it's sort of up for grabs on the sports that will be and the sports that won't. I would think tennis, that with the success it's had, is going to be in that realm. Women's ice hockey, maybe, but it's expensive, I think, to run. From
sure.
Just a travel standpoint and everything else. But right on down the line, that is like a little sense of melancholy there as we were talking. And you can see that on YouTube and at LettermanRow.com. But the sense of melancholy there as we were talking, because it's not going to be the same 5 years from now.
Beau, it's interesting just talking about all this when Justin Hare was doing media availability after he got hired. He talked about Ross Bjork, talking with him, saying that they may not have the money for the baseball program that some of the bigger baseball teams have, some of the SEC teams have. So that right there tells you that the model is definitely going to be different.
So I took note of that last week too, Bake, and we talked about that on the show from the standpoint of you're going to have to pick. This is going to be Ross Bjork's job. Like, Gene does not have to deal with this, but Ross, and it's not going to be a matter of, hey, we're not going to fund these sports, but it's going to be, they're not going to be funded the way that they were, because you can't. You just can't. The money is going to start to be shared. That 22 million, whatever it's going to be, that's just the start of where this thing is going. And you just can't have a bunch of entities that aren't profitable. Did you ask Gene? We got about a minute left in the segment, Tim. Was there a regret? Was there, I wish I would have handled this better?
Well, I mean, to me, the one that sticks in my craw that I wish the university had handled better was August of 2018, when they were looking to make a point and make a moment. You know what I mean? Have a moment, and they threw. I thought they threw Gene and Urban Meyer to the wolves to a certain extent for what went on, for something that didn't even involve an arrest or anything. And you know what I'm talking about. And
sure,
not with him, I think. They all, the line there for the whole university was it could have been handled better. And then when you ask in what way, there's never been a real answer. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was, to me, it was more of a political, make a political point. And I blame the president of the university for what went on down, in that regard. But yeah, I mean, as far as regress, I mean, I think 2011, I had experts telling me that they weren't going to, for example, get a bowl ban. Guys who had been on the committee of infractions, even been the head of it, and then they did. And I think that you're going to look back, and that was the NCAA. Man, that might have been that parabola. The big plane flies when it's giving you zero gravity, and you can practice zero gravity. That might have been the top of it right there for the NCAA, because you kind of punished Ohio State much more than you needed to. And you lost maybe a ridiculously staunch ally in Ohio State in that regard. So
it's a great inflection point.
Really interesting.
It is, and I've said many times, like that was the end of it. And that was the two things are not the same.
See how strong we are.
Yeah, right. It wasn't just the Ohio State, but it was also what they were doing with Penn State. That was the last time, and it was like, please, sir, no more lashings, right? And then it became after that it became, why don't you go ahead and prove it?
Yeah.
Then it was Carolina basketball, Miami football, Kansas basketball. Prove it.
People
you don't have subpoena power? Oh, you can't do anything? How about that? How about we're not going to take anything?
People lawyered up. I mean, the idea that to remain in any affiliation with the NCAA, you were compelled to answer their questions. And then all of a sudden people lawyered up, and it was a total different world.
It was, yeah. They're the last ones that got pinched for it. We'll get into Bjork and the challenges ahead for him a little bit later in the show.
Let's do that.
Very big day for Texas and Oklahoma and the Southeastern Conference in college football they're in. You know these two teams very well. You grew up in the footprint. We'll get into it coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Your morning just got beefier. Morning Juice with Beamer, Bobby, and Shark.
Weekdays from 6 to 9.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Tired of rising food prices? Start saving with deals for days at Giant Eagle and Market District. Enjoy low prices on more than 1,000 of your go-to grocery items store-wide. Dive into deals for a limited time at your local Giant Eagle and Market District.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Your roof took a beating from winter storms, spring rain, and sun damage. Call Legacy Roofing Services before that crack or seam becomes a major leak, costing thousands of dollars. Call Legacy today, 800-880-ROOF, 800-880-ROOF. Legacy Roofing Services.
My name is Dr. Ray Tessner. I'm an orthopedic surgeon in Columbus, Ohio. I've been involved with taking care of athletes and aging athletes for over 35 years.
Dr. Ray Tessner knows a thing or two about joint pain, and one thing he's a big believer in right now is regenerative medicine.
The advantage that I see in the regenerative medicine that there's really no downside to it.
Today, you'll find Dr. Tessner at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in this exciting way to deal with joint pain, using natural concentrated healing agents from your own body to go to work on achy joints, restoring and repairing damaged tissue.
It's one of the best management tools that's come around in a long time.
Tired of that pain in your knees, hips, back, and shoulder? Before you go under the knife, get a second opinion from QC Kinetics. You really can get lasting relief with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime.
QC Kinetics has become a leader in the regenerative medicine field.
Go to qckinetics.com/Columbus or call 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544.
Attention weekend warriors. Fan Sports Saturday has moved to 10 a.m. Join Eric Reeser and Tyvis Powell as they dive into popular topics like the Buckeyes and Tyvis's liquid diet.
Saturdays from 10 to 1.
The Fan.
Great coaching can make all the difference, especially when it comes to your money. At Right Pac Credit Union, our financial coaches are on your team. We'll help you create a winning game plan that's customized for your unique needs, so you can make the most of your hard-earned money and live the life you want to live. Best of all, Right Pac Credit Union serves all of Central Ohio, so getting in the game is easy. Let's win together. Stop by one of our Central Ohio member centers to get started today. Equal housing opportunity, insured by NCUA.
America's favorite car show returns to Columbus with a jam-packed weekend of cool cars, cool people, and good times. It's the Good Guys 26th Summit Racing National, and it's all happening July 12th through the 14th at the Ohio Expo Center. Cruise on out with your family and friends and check out over 6,000 of the country's coolest classics on display. And don't miss Good Guys CPP Autocross Racing action, Nitro Thunderfest, a huge swap meet and vendor midway, live music, family fun, and so much more. It's Ohio's biggest hot rod and party of the summer, and it's all going down July 12th through the 14th at the Ohio Expo Center. Get details at good-guys.com.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
This summer, click into easier yard cleanup with same-day delivery from the Home Depot. Click into clearing overgrown grass or weeds with effortless gas-like power. And click into the convenience of a battery platform compatible with over 250 tools with the Milwaukee M18 fuel trimmer, now for just $199. Click into power with 4th of July savings now at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Order select and stock items by 4 p.m. subject to availability.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Hey, here's what's up. We mentioned the transition to power to Ohio State official. Ross Bjork in as your new athletic director. We'll have more on the challenges ahead for him as the program goes along, but also a day in the Southeastern Conference. Texas and Oklahoma are in. There's a lot historically here to try to wrap your head around. You knew that they were coming, so it's more of a formality than anything else, obviously. But, I think, and you would have been in the middle of this, Tim. You could make an argument. Wouldn't it be fair to say that in the 80s and early 90s, as the sport was first starting to explode, the old Southwestern Conference, which became part of it became the Big 8 and then became the Big 12, was on stronger footing than the SEC? Would that be fair to say?
Yeah,
Through the 80s, late 80s, early 90s?
I think it was right there. And by the way, it was a Southwest Conference. The Southwestern Conference was made of HBCU schools. But I digress, of course.
Yeah, good, correct.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. But so the point is that this was a group of teams, and Nebraska was in this mix as well in that original Big 12 with Colorado and Nebraska and Texas and Oklahoma that had all of these things.
Yes.
And this was a conference that should have been able to stand on its own. And really, the undoing of it is one of these two teams' fault. It's Texas.
Yes.
You got to go back a decade when they say, hey, you know what? We want a little bit more money than everybody else, and we're going to do the Longhorn Network. And then everybody went, wait a second. We're not a fan of that. And then much of that stuff fell on its face. The Longhorn Network fell on its face. A lot of it did. And then you get what we get now, which is Texas and Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
How close was the Big Ten to ever having these two teams or one of them? I know that obviously the Big Ten wanted Texas bigly, and I know Oklahoma wanted the Big Ten bigly when this Texas stuff first happened. Was there ever a roadmap that would have led for one or both of these teams to the Big Ten? How viable was that in your understanding?
Back then, it didn't seem as viable, especially from the Oklahoma side, because Oklahoma was attached by an umbilical cord to Oklahoma State, at that point. And they would have almost, the way I understand it, it would have taken legislation almost to make that, to cut that cord.
Yeah.
And then the Texas thing, it's funny, Beau. I remember even thinking back then, boy, that's a long way to go, for some of these other sports, football and basketball fly everywhere. But I call it the 12-passenger van sports. That's a long way for them to go. And, of course, even them, that's kind of what we're getting into earlier.
Sure.
But some of that stuff's going to get cut now from a standpoint of just when the Big Ten goes from sea to shining sea. Some of the funding's going to get cut, so we'll see where that goes. But the point was that made more sense. But getting back to the Texas thing, if you remember, I even told you this a long time ago. The Longhorn Network I didn't think was going to be a hit. And you go, people go, well, why not? I go, because I grew up in Texas. And when you grew up in Texas, you were either what they call a Texas X's, the alums of Texas. You either loved Texas or you thoroughly hated Texas. I mean, not just a little bit. Look at Texas A&M. It couldn't hardly wait to get away from Texas and join the SEC. And then it gets backroom deal to get when Texas goes into the SEC. Almost the last person to find out about it is Texas A&M. For obvious reasons, because they didn't want to, they didn't want to fight, before the doors open to the new SEC. But I mean, it was an interesting time because Texas wasn't anywhere near as popular as it thought it was. It did have a great brand, and it does have a great athletic department. But they hadn't won a national championship in a while, since right on down the line, and it came along, and it makes sense now the way things have evolved in the major college realm of these mega conferences for them to be where they are and to be renewed to stay with Oklahoma from a rival standpoint and to have their rivalry renewed with Texas A&M. They're only 100 miles apart.
Yeah.
And, boy, they are 1,000 miles apart in terms of their alums and what they think of each other. Let me just tell you that
there's no question.
It's crazy.
I've said it, I would rather have these two than the four we got. I think these two would have made more sense in the Big Ten than the four we got. I think this would have lifted Nebraska in a big way.
I like Texas. I like USC and Oregon. Let me put it that way. Go ahead now.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
From a footprint standpoint, I like this one a little bit better. But I think they did the best they could once this happened, and USC is going to be interesting to see where they are and what they can do when they come in. In terms of these two teams going into the SEC, Texas is coming in pretty loaded for Bear. That roster is really good. It's been a while now. It's been since Mac in the mid-2000s when Vince was running amok that they've been at the precipice. Probably could have got another one had Colt McCoy got hurt got hurt in that first drive against Alabama because they were going right down the field, and that changed everything in that game. So they had that stretch where they were at the top of the sport. Oklahoma's never played defense. Which of these two programs? Well, they did way back
in the modern
with the
era.
Selmans, but not in the modern era.
Yeah.
Which of these two? How do you think they'll fare in that league from a not just year one, but just long term, from a recruiting standpoint, from a to stay competitive in that league? How do you think these two will do?
Well, from a recruiting standpoint, for example, Oklahoma's always lived off Texas. I mean, it's been the barnacle, on the state of Texas. It's been the barnacle on that whale for a long time. And then Texas, of course, owned Texas for the most part when I was growing up in the 60s and 70s there. Texas A&M has been hit or miss. It's really funny. I saw this list the other day. It might have been on on3.com, but the toughest places to play. Yeah. And they listed Kyle Field, and I go, well, I don't know. I think some people would argue. I mean, it's a ridiculous building. I was there in 2019, the first time since '76, since I left the state of Texas to move up here. And the building is ridiculous how huge it is. But I watched Alabama wax Texas A&M in the second half that day, And
I had buddies who have been down there and just said it was kind of weird.
It's just huge.
And we're talking about Texas A&M.
Yeah, Texas A&M. Cal Field. Cal Field named after my first son, Kyle May.
That's right. They named Kyle May.
As a matter of fact, Cal, Texas is right down the road, but that's another story. But the bottom line is it has not been it's the 12th man and all that stuff. It's got a lot of lore about it, but very few championships to brag about, if you follow me. No trophies. And and in Texas, of course, enlarge their stadium. They're about almost the same size now, Memorial Stadium, DKR Memorial Stadium, and Cal Field. But and in Oklahoma, it's still sort of Oklahoma Stadium kind of reminds you of Camp Randall a little bit, I mean, in that regard. You've been there. Yeah. So but my point is, I think all three of those programs, but the team that's always been third when you rank those would be Texas A&M from the standpoint of getting it done on the field in football. But they are in the richest. I think that's as rich a high school football state as there is in the country because there's just more people. Florida right there with them. But Texas, by far, everybody recruits in the state of Texas now, And but I think Texas is most poised going into 2024 and beyond to really take it to another level.
I'm really curious about Oklahoma because while Texas has the better brand, I suppose, than Oklahoma is a Mount Rushmore program.
Yes.
I mean, you talk about national championships, Heisman's, all of it. Their program annihilates Texas historically over a 60-year period.
Yeah.
They just are better. They've been better consistently. It feels like they care more in terms of their alumni base and all of it. But Oklahoma, you mentioned that barnacle on Texas. Now that the whole country's barnacling Texas, the state,
exactly.
Right? So, can they stay afloat? Can they maintain what they are, or is there any concern that they end up as a Nebraska situation where all of a sudden everything's a snake pit? Now they have more money than Nebraska, but boy, that's the one that I'm curious about. I think Texas will be largely fine because I think also Texas doesn't have the same expectations as Oklahoma does.
Yeah, I mean, I think they do now. But by the way, I think they do,
and it's convenient. Is my perception of it.
They were dealt a pretty huge slice of humble pie. The last 10 years, in my opinion, and trying to find that next great coach. And then finally settling on Steve Sarkisian. I think he's made it an attractive, these days, this, Beau, you've got to be attractive offensively to players. And I think Texas is definitely that now. And then build the defense, behind it. Kind of what Ohio State, the little renaissance Ohio State's going through right now, when the defense kind of fell off in the early 2020s, and now it's back to where it should be. But, that's what Texas has going for it, and it's right there in the middle of it all. And they have embraced NIL just like Texas A&M has.
Sure.
I'm not sure Oklahoma's gotten there NIL-wise.
Seems they're a little behind.
Yeah. So, dude, it's always going to come down to that henceforth on what have you got from an NIL standpoint? That's not the only reason you go to a school. But, boy, when you throw that little extra little, $10 piece on black, and say roll it instead of a red or whatever. I mean, that's what you got going for you. And Texas can be as big as it wants to be in NIL. That's kind of like Ohio State. What Ohio State finally did, they flexed their muscle and showed when everybody's rowing the boat in the same direction, look what you got. You got a Roman galleon.
Yeah, certainly so. All right, EA Sports, their college football games coming out this month. They ranked their top 10 most talented teams, and it's their top 10 power rankings, but it's their most talented in their view. Some validity to this. We'll get into it coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The only radio station still operating with an active booze card. I'm drunk right now. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
In a world without Mountain Dew, life would be pretty dull. So grab yourself a Mountain Dew and get that incomparable blast of neon citrus flavor. Hey, if you're not having an outrageously good time, you're not drinking Dew. Do the Dew.
Hey, Ohio! Make memories that will last a lifetime at the Ohio State Fair, July 24th through August 4th. Experience the food, entertainment, animals, shopping, rides, and more. July 24th through August 4th. Tickets on sale at ohiostatefair.com.
It's time to start saving with deals for days at Giant Eagle and Market District. From the everyday essentials to your must-have branded favorites, Deals for Days has low prices on more than 1,000 items across the store. Don't delay. These discounted prices on your go-to groceries will only be available for a limited time. Learn more about Deals for Days at gianteagle.com or dive into savings today at your local Giant Eagle or Market District.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Attention, boating enthusiasts. Bennington Factory demonstration models are at Buckeye Lake Marina. These exclusive demo units are loaded with the features built to dazzle at shows and exhibits. And guess what? They're all brand new with a full warranty. Some have never even touched the water. Hold on to your mooring ropes because we're offering dock-shaking discounts up to $40,000 only at Buckeye Lake Marina. These deals are hotter than the summer sun and won't last long. Visit Buckeye Lake Marina and make your dream boat a reality today. BuckeyeLakeMarina.com, where your adventure begins.
Rockman and Ice.
When I wake up having had a dream and you want to get back into the dream, there should be a way to portal yourself back in.
Rockman and Ice. Weekdays at noon.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus.
The Fan.
The wait is over. Dell Technologies Black Friday and July deals are live. Check out incredible savings on select laptops and more, like the XPS 15, powered by Intel Core processors. The XPS 15 brings you the perfect balance of power and portability, plus stellar visuals and immersive sound. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to exceptional tech and electronics, plus free shipping on everything. Don't miss out on Black Friday and July savings at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Raid wants to know, what would you do if you could confidently face every day knowing you and your loved ones are protected? Would you sing along to your favorite song at the top of your lungs? Turn off the GPS and let your heart do the guiding. Go to the drive-thru and order one of everything. Feel the buzz of confidence of knowing you are protected with 65 years of insect science in your hands. Raid. Protection for everyone.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free. with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Want to know anything about the Fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Our top men are working on everything except this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
And The Fan is now on YouTube. Watch your favorite shows live. Check out the video, YouTube Shorts. How do you find us? Head to YouTube and search 971 The Fan. And don't forget to subscribe to The Fan's new YouTube channel. Speaking of YouTube, we've got some comments rolling in, Bake.
Yeah, Christopher Sowers talking about some of the stuff we just talked about. Texas has like 15 sports, and Ohio State has like 32, and he has the palm to the face emoji right after.
Yeah.
And then Bobby Hodge chimes in. Texas, I believe, is going to flourish in the SEC, and Oklahoma is not going to do so well. But, Beau, I kind of question his judgment because right after that, he says he loves Tim May. So I'm not sure about Bobby Hodge.
Well, he was listening to me because that's what we talked about, the NIL situation with Oklahoma. Is it's interesting.
So,
and
they have it.
Yeah.
We know that Oklahoma has the money.
They have
they've
it.
Got,
yeah.
It seems like they're not as organized. And I wonder if the Venables extension last week was part of almost like, see, we do believe in we do believe we're headed in the right direction. I don't know that was validated based on what he's done so far on the field, but rather just look, we're going to go into the SEC with the perception that we're on very, very solid footing.
Yeah. It's just interesting, Beau, real quick before we move on, that, for example, Oklahoma, and where has it really been lacking more than anything else is defense. And Brent Venables, you remember, Ryan Day and company, they solved Clemson's defense.
Yeah. Yeah, they sure did.
And all of a sudden you look up and Venables, is there at Oklahoma, and people aren't intimidated by Oklahoma defensively at all. It's far from the days of the Selman brothers. Let's put it that way.
Even the early Stoops national championship and their competitiveness in the early 2000s they had Roy Williams on that defense at safety. They had some dudes at linebacker. They had some big fellas. Tommy Harris up front was a dude. Stoops built it that way, and I think they're going to have to get back a little bit. That they were also in the position of, and it's the same position Notre Dame was in with Marcus, and we'll see if all of this stuff works with wait a second, we just lost our coach, and then now we got to get somebody hired before this early signing period. It's got to go quick. So that early signing period has changed the calendar on when these programs have to get hires done.
Yes.
It's made, I think a lot of guys have benefited from it. Marcus certainly being one of them at Notre Dame, where it's like, hey, this dude can recruit. He's been here a year. We can't lose this class. We can't lose these coordinators. We can't lose kids to the portal. Everybody loves him. Let's give it a go. And it's gone so-so. It's gone pretty good, but we'll see if he can get him to whatever Notre Dame aspires to be. And I think the same thing happened at Oklahoma. Wait, Oklahoma is losing a coach to somewhere else? Nobody leaves Oklahoma for another job. That's the thing. Who leaves that? And so I think they were kind of caught with their pants down a little bit, and you got to make a move pretty quickly on it.
Absolutely. And it's urgency is the name of the game anymore. It really is, because what have you done for me lately? Any other cliche you want to throw in there? Things are moving so fast now, and even in recruiting, things are moving so fast. And then you throw in the specter of the transfer portal. It's nonstop, and you really got to have your act together and then keep it together.
Yeah, and it does, and it's a year-to-year talent acquisition job now. It's not a
build a team for today.
It's for this. You're building right. It's funny. I think everyone kind of finally got it this offseason with the Buckeyes, where it was like, oh, we're not worrying about 5 quarterbacks because we're fine if obviously you want them all there, but we just need one, and we just want all the talent that we can have, and then we'll sort it out. And that's the attitude that you're going to see around the sport. And we're going to get into this. We had some fun with a college football playoff thing that I kind of put together that we'll get into here at 10 o'clock. EA Sports, this was from last weekend. They put this out, top 10 team power rankings for the college football game. Now, what's interesting about this to me is the amount of work that they go through to assess talent on a roster. So they're not looking at, and it's important, power rankings not how we think they're going to end up. This is what they think are the 10 most talented teams in the country. And if it's anything like Madden, they rely heavily on PFF, on evaluations from NFL teams. I'm assuming they did the same thing here. They're very thorough in the breakdown. What I think is illuminating for most folks is there's a lot of stuff that goes exactly the way you thought. Georgia number 1, Ohio State number 2, Oregon 3. I keep telling people they're right there, Tim.
Yes,
Oregon is right. They are coming in loaded for bear. So this was a little bit of a surprise. They had Alabama more talented than Texas, just one spot, 4-5. And then this was the one that really caught my attention. Clemson at number 6 on a talented roster standpoint.
Yeah.
Big season for Dabo down there. To finish out the top 10, they go Notre Dame at number 7. We knew that. LSU 8, Penn State 9, and then Utah number 10. Did the Alabama over Texas thing jump out at you at all? And what do you make of Clemson? Clemson is not in any preseason top 10, ranked 6th. So this is the evaluation of the talent on their roster.
Yeah. I think Alabama and Texas are almost a push because, like you're talking about talent on the roster. Alabama defensively has some great players you haven't even seen yet. You know what I mean? For example, Texas is just getting there from a defensive standpoint. I think offensively, these two teams are almost going to be a push, especially with Kalen DeBoer now at Alabama. It's going to be interesting what offense they put on the field, if you follow my drift.
Yeah.
And then after that, Clemson, everybody wants to, with your buddy Paul Feinbaum on down, used to be my buddy. No, I'm just joking. I still like Paul. But the mouth of the South, just right. Ask him. Clemson still has really good talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But see, I'm judging teams now, Beau. You know where I've always come on this.
I know it.
I always say it. The most important play in football ain't the punt, and I threw a little ain't in there, so I sounded like a coach. It ain't the punt. It's touchdowns. Do you score touchdowns, Yeah. And I look at like LSU. LSU's going to score touchdowns with Brian Kelly. They're going to figure out a way to score touchdowns just like they did last year, or they're going to have a defense sufficient enough to get them over the hump. But I would have LSU over Clemson and Notre Dame at this point. I just like the way their approach to the game. And then, and I'm just looking down through their top 20. I really, for example, I don't understand why Colorado is 16.
Yes,
I don't see any reason for Colorado being that high, but go ahead.
Here's what they did. They gave, because Colorado had 10 million people watch them play. So they gave Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter, they're probably close to 9. I bet you Travis Hunter's a 99 rated.
Yeah,
so
probably.
Then when you do that lifts everything else. But yeah, it was mostly about the attention with Colorado.
Well, yeah, it was like Fox.
They're going to have to try and win 6 games.
Fox Television. I was joking. Urban Meyer aren't doing Urban's Take this year. They've got a deal. They wanted him to do something with Rob Stone, I think over at Fox and stuff. But we talked about that. I mean, they just jumped on that bandwagon and rode it until it ran into the ground. The Colorado thing. And I'm telling you, it ran into the ground. And
yes.
And I just think that's, like you're saying, more from Pop, more the couple of superstars they've got. But, man, Dallin Hayden, when he decided to go to Colorado, I go, did you watch their offensive line?
Yeah, they can't.
The last half of the season, they couldn't block Beau Bishop on a Mad Dog blitz.
They could not. Well, speaking of, so they did theirs. So I had a lot of time in the car, so I did a little bit of my own. Everyone's doing a top 12. Wait a minute.
Team playoff. Wait a minute. You're not supposed to rank top 12s and drive. I don't know if you know
this was when we had the blonde was driving at this moment. We did family truckster style. So we'll go over our 12-team playoff. Tim can pick it apart. We'll have some fun with that coming up next. Bishop and Friends are here on The Fan.
We're your radio home for the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. We may have a bit of a football problem. Oh, yeah. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Find savings to celebrate this 4th of July with one stop at Meijer. Pick up fresh from Meijer 80% lean ground beef family pack for just $2.99 per pound. And family pack chicken drumsticks for 99 cents per pound. Bulk sweet corn is 5 for $1 this week. Meijer potato chips are 3 for $6. And Aunt Millie's stadium buns are $1.99. Plus, get even more great deals with buy 5, save $5. Get everything you need for July 4th this week at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in store or in the Meijer app.
Common Man here for Care Heating and Cooling. Weather is unpredictable, but the inside of your home should be comfortable just the way you like it. And the best way to avoid those unnecessary surprises is with a care plan. See, with a care plan, you get priority service, system maintenance in case of an emergency. Just another way to give you and your family peace of mind. And maintaining your systems properly can help save you money. A properly maintained furnace and air conditioner run more efficiently, reducing your utility usage. Regular maintenance also prevents breakdowns and extends the life of your equipment. I'm on the care plan, and I'm quite the expert. I'll stop by and give your system a once-over. I will. Don't tempt me. I end every commercial the same way, telling you to hire Care when you need a company you can trust. It's not just the slogan. That's the Care creed. How about this? Lennox. They have thousands of dealers nationwide. HVAC royalty. Last year, Lennox gave Care their coveted Partner of the Year award because they're trusted by their customers and their partners. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING or book an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com when you need a company you can trust.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Ryan Baker. Welcome to July. Happy Bobby Bonilla Day and happy NHL Free Agency Day. The CBJ are expected to be active in free agency when it opens at noon, maybe adding a player or two. Yesterday, the Jackets granted qualifying offers to Kent Johnson, Cole Sillinger, Kirill Marchenko, Jet Greaves, and Jake Christensen. They did not offer Alex Nylander and Jake Bean. They also put Adam Boquist on waivers. If he clears, they will buy him out. Paul George has agreed to a 4-year, $212 million deal with the 76ers. Philly also giving Tyrese Maxey a $204 million extension. James Harden is returning to the Clippers for 2 years, $70 million. This one's sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping, give him a call at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP, or you can visit him online, sleepbettercolumbus.com.
Producers, co-hosts, friends, some of those things are true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, second hour here on a Monday. Beau, Tim May, and Bake, as you just heard there on the update. Tim, anytime somebody talks about like how much money a quarterback makes or something like that, and then Bake gives like those NBA numbers, I just go, chill out, man.
No. That's what.
Chill out.
Real quick, I wrote this one time, a long time ago. There were when Jim Trustle's salary went over a certain mark, I went, and people were just going crazy about it. I go, there are like maybe 100 guys sitting the bench in the NBA making more, you know what I mean?
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Than the head coach of Ohio State football. I mean, think about it. You know, it's like the responsibilities, et cetera. It's pretty nuts. I used
to say that that Urban was underpaid.
Yeah.
And Tress too, because what you are as the football coach at Big State U is you're the front porch. You're responsible for the front porch of the university.
Correct.
The football team wins, enrollment goes up, applications go up, donations to the medical school go up, everything elevates. Bowden said that years ago. I've shared that before on the show. That was his whole. That's how we built Florida State, and what Florida State was as a university before he got there, and what it became after are night and day. And I think Tress. I just having this conversation at this lacrosse tournament with Tress about when Tress won the national title in 2002. Ohio State. My buddy's line was Ohio State was like the backup school. And then football starts to win at a great pitch, and then all of a sudden now you can't get in. because you've had 25 years of elite football. And with that said, people say, I want to be a part of it. I see there's in our town, there were a half dozen kids last year who went to Alabama. Like, man, when I was in the South, like you weren't going from Alabama, like thinking academically. And the football program was nothing when I was in the South. Well, it had a history, but it was pre-Saban.
Hey, real quick before we move on, I mean, like at Alabama, I've used this example a lot. I remember reading a story in I think it was the Tuscaloosa News about 10 or 15 years ago, and Alabama enrollment back then, and I'm just throwing these numbers out there, it's just maybe not exactly accurate, but it was like in the mid to low 20s at University of Alabama. Their desire was to get that up near 40,000. And because that's like putting in oil wells in a
that's exactly
in a small town. I mean, because students come there flush with cash, some with the student loans, which then get I guess those get taken care of now. But the point is, it's literally an attraction, and the football was part and parcel to it. And I think they've pretty much gotten pretty close to where they wanted to get to. Yeah.
Here you go. University of Alabama set a new enrollment record of 39,623 in the fall of 23.
There you go.
So it's their biggest ever. And why is that? Because of Saban.
Yeah, absolutely.
People wanted to be a part of it.
You can see the stadium from miles around, is what I like to say.
Yeah. No, it flipped. It absolutely flipped it. All right, we're going to go into the 12-team playoff. And while this feels a little bit like a shotgun wedding in terms of the calendar, in terms of the lack of thought that was given to when they were going to play it, in terms of how little sense it makes throughout that month with everything else that's going on in that time, I do think that what you're going to get from a product standpoint is going to be extraordinary. I think they made the NFL sent them a pretty big shot across the bow on that first Saturday, and they need to find a way to kind of work together on that a little bit. And you're going to have to give to the NFL because the NFL is not giving to anybody unless they want to, and they don't. So you're going to have to work with that a little bit. But I do think what you're going to get from a product standpoint for guys like us, and the gross many of you out there listening, is you are going to get some incredibly cool matchups that you otherwise wouldn't have gotten. Correct. Now, Tim, I think it's my belief that this committee will put thought into matchups that they will build a bracket that makes sense for their television partners. So what I mean by that is I don't think that they will put Ohio State or Georgia, if they're the 1-2, I don't think they will put Ohio State having to play potentially Oregon for a third time in the quarterfinal. I don't think that they will set the bracket to where Georgia would theoretically have to play Texas for a third time in a quarterfinal. I think they'll go opposite, and I think that they can monkey with the rankings enough to make the bracket make sense for TV. Do you buy into that, or do you think that they'll have integrity?
I think when you get to 5 through 12, they can do anything they want.
That's it.
I mean, 1 through 4 is going to be I think 1 through 4 is going to be obvious to everybody, by that moment, and then 5 through 12, because I've told you all along, the thing that's worrisome to me is that you could have Ohio State and Michigan play 3 straight times. I mean, theoretically, 3 straight times. So, and even Gene kind of touched on that a little bit in my conversation with him. And then we moved on from that because it's kind of hard to wrap your head around it. But yeah, I think they definitely are. Monkey is the right term for it. But of course, whoever wins the Big Ten championship game, you got to figure is going to be in the top 4, right? So
the conference champions automatically get the top 4. So here's the thing that I think a lot of fans don't realize about this right now, because by the way, that makes no sense that they're going to put out a top 25 ranking every week. None. Because if they are going to do that, Tim, then the 3 and 4 have got to be from the ACC and the Big 12. Because it's not going to be the top 4 teams in the country getting the bye.
It's got to be legit.
It's going to be conference champions. Yeah. So that's in the bylaws. So you're going to have 1 Big 10, 1 SEC, 1 ACC, 1 Big 12.
Yeah.
Those are your 4 buys.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah.
So you could, so I went through this and I looked at kind of taking all of those factors in, building television shows, building matchups, building things that make sense from what I believe to be a television show perspective. And I have a pretty good handle on the way the committee thinks about that. So I went 1 through 12 on this, all right? So I have the Buckeyes getting the number 1 overall seed, Tim. Now I have them at 12-1. So I have them losing early to Oregon and then winning out and beating the Ducks in the rematch in the Big Ten title game.
Gotcha.
And I think that would be enough to get you the 1 seed overall.
Okay. I buy that. And I just think Oregon's going to, you talk about going to stir the drink. It's going to be interesting. Go ahead now.
Yeah. Number 2, the 2 seed, I have Georgia. So I have Georgia losing twice in the regular season. I got them losing to Bama and Texas, winning the rest because they still play Clemson. Their schedule's really robust this year.
Yeah.
And then them winning the SEC title. So they beat Texas in the rematch for the SEC title. So the Georgia 11-2 is the 2. The 3, I have Utah. 11-2 Big 12 champs. They'll be the 3 in mine. I have Clemson the 4, but I have them the 4 with a couple of losses. I have them losing to Georgia. I got them losing to Florida State in the regular season, and they may even pick up another one. But, Tim, guess what? If they win the ACC championship game, which they would because Georgia's an out-of-conference game, if they were to beat FSU, they'll be the 4.
Yeah.
So
and that loss would have been to Georgia, which is your number 2. So go ahead. Yeah.
So they're in there. So the 5, I have Texas. I think Texas is going to win every game it plays except for the game with Georgia in the SEC title game. That's my prognostication on this one right here, just for the sake to have a little fun in July. Okay. Oregon is the 6. Oregon's only loss is to Ohio State in the Big Ten title game. So those two teams both 12-1. I guess theoretically going into conference championship weekend they would have been 1-2, but both of them lose in rematches. It's hard to beat a team twice.
Yes.
Ole Miss at 7. Now this is where I think they're going to do this on jockeying for TV. So follow me on this. Ole Miss is the 7. Notre Dame at 10-2 is the 8. Bama is the 9 with losses to Oklahoma and Tennessee, or fill in the blank, one of them. But with 2 losses at Bama. FSU is the 10, Penn State the 11, and then Boise State the 12. So what that allows for you to have is a buys for Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia, and Utah. The 5-12 matchup is Texas and Boise State. The 6-11 is Oregon and Penn State. The 7-10 is Ole Miss and Florida State. And the 8-9 is Notre Dame and Bama. So for perspective in your head, if you're driving around or listening, or even Tim, as I'm sure you're trying to make sense of what I just did here.
I'm writing it all down.
Here's what you get.
That's how messed up I am.
You're going to get, in that first weekend against the NFL, you get Notre Dame, Bama. So you put that one at 8 o'clock on Saturday night when the NFL's over. So that'll be a monster. You're going to get NFL games leading into Notre Dame, Bama. That's your 8 o'clock Sunday night game. Your Friday night game, I believe with this setup that they would go Oregon, Penn State on Friday night out in Eugene. They'd play that at Friday night. The Saturday games would be 5-12, Texas, Boise State at noon, and then Ole Miss, Florida State at 3:30. They're sacrificial lambs against the NFL, but you take your losses somewhere.
Yeah.
So the Notre Dame, Bama game would feed into Ohio State. The Texas Boise State game would feed into Clemson. The Ole Miss Florida State game would feed into Georgia, and the Oregon Penn State game would feed into Utah.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. And number 2, you know what I'm seeing from your bracket?
Yeah.
For 1, 2, 3, and 4, they get the first week off. But boy, does it get real fast.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh yeah.
I don't know why he couldn't just gone with 8. I mean, 8 made so much sense in every sense of the matter. But yeah, it gets real fast. I like your bracket so far here. It looks pretty good.
So what this allows for, and I was talking with Bill Bender, our good buddy, mutual buddy, last week about this. What this allows for, and I believe what they'll take into consideration, Tim, is I think they will want to avoid, for as best they can, previous matchups. So I think they could monkey with this. Is that monkeying with it? Like, is there a gross difference between Texas and Oregon based on the way I had this all play out? Not really.
No.
They both have the same type of quality wins. Both would be 12-1. But if you put Texas on the top, potentially you get Texas and Ohio State in a national semifinal.
Yes.
If you put Oregon on the bottom, you get Georgia and Oregon potentially in a national semifinal. All of that wins.
Yes.
Those are not rematches. You're not seeing Ohio State, Oregon for a third time. You're not seeing Texas, Georgia for a third time, unless they happen to play for a national title. I believe the committee will do things like this.
You know what? The thing, I was totally against 12 because I think 12. I don't believe anybody should get a bye in major college football. I think you should play the same number of games, and especially when it gets to this level, you should be playing the same number of games. Now, with that said, everybody we just named as what 1, 2, 3, and 4 are going to have to win conference championship games. So that's an extra game, right?
Yes.
And so yeah, I understand that part. But then a team you beat in the conference championship game is going to have to play and then another extra game, like it's for Ohio State, Oregon. Then Oregon would go in to that first round and play an extra game. And I just believe the wear and tear on college football rosters. People are poo-pooing it. I do not agree with it. I think it's going to be maybe massive and really change the bracket as it goes from top to bottom. So, I mean, to me, that's going to be the most interesting thing to keep your eye on. But let's say everybody stays healthy. Beau, these are the kind of like bowl matchups you dreamed about when I was a kid, you know?
Same.
And it rarely happened, but when it did, it was magic. I mean, Alabama, Notre Dame in 73 and whatever it was. I mean, Ohio State against any Alabama or anybody back in the 60s or 70s. I mean, it would have been so cool to see those games. Now they're actually going to happen, and that's the best part of it.
There are plenty of you bring up the conference championship games. I want to get into that because I don't know how long they are for the world, but I don't know how they're going to get out of them.
I don't either.
And it goes to the thing that you just described. There is a gross disparity in having to play that weekend or not. Like if you are Texas and Oregon in the way that I had this play out, you have to play a slobber knocker and then you get penalized by having to play an extra game.
Correct.
Will that be addressed? And how it does, I think, speak to, this is what I want to get into next, how arbitrary these rankings are, because I believe that they are just going to make TV shows. We'll get into that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Unlike your deadbeat uncle, we'll never leave you stranded in a ditch when you were 6. This promo may have been a touch too specific. The Fan.
Another day is here, and you're ready for it. What to wear? Check. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Check. Planning for what's next and how to save for it? That's where Bank of America can help. For your financial to-dos, Bank of America has experts ready to help get you closer to your goals. Get started at one of our Central Ohio financial centers or 24/7 in our mobile banking app. Find a location near you at bankofamerica.com/talktous. What would you like the power to do? Mobile banking requires downloading the app and is only available for select devices. Message and data rates may apply. Bank of America N.A., member FDIC.
Now at White Castle, you can get 12 chicken rings for just $3.99. Tender on the inside, crispy on the outside. Choose from classic, Hidden Valley Ranch, or new smoky barbecue. White Castle. Follow your crave. Limited time only at participating castles. Tax not included.
Whether you're a seasoned pro or a new golfer, think beyond the green and head over to X Golf Columbus and X Golf Powell. Come experience the most advanced and accurate golf simulators in the world at X Golf. A fun venue with great food, excellent service, and a full bar. You can play around on one of our 50 courses, take a lesson from our PGA Pro, hit the driving range, join a league, or just sit back and sip a beer on the outdoor patio. Book your tee time today at playxgolf.com. X Golf Columbus and X Golf Powell, the home of indoor golf.
Hey, welcome to the IKEA Midsummer Sale. Hello. Save up to 50% on outdoor furniture and indoor essentials and have your best summer.
Oh, how about storage for my inflatable flamingos?
We've got you covered. Let's turn your space into a summer haven with space for birds.
Awesome.
Visit us in store from June 12th to July 9th or at IKEA-USA.com/midsummer. Offer valid dates may vary. U.S. only while supplies last. Selection may vary by store and online. See store and IKEA-USA.com/midsummer for complete terms. Restrictions apply.
Score a goal with the Love My Crew checking account from Pathways, the checking account that rewards you for supporting the crew. Learn more at pathwayscu.com. Pathways Financial Credit Union, official credit union of the Columbus Crew, federally insured by NCUA.
Common Man and T-Bone.
They're not on vacation. They're in the tangy. In the tangy. I didn't get that.
They're in the all in tangy.
I didn't get that.
Common Man and T-Bone.
Sponsored by the Hinderer Motor Company.
Weekdays 3 to 6 on The Fan.
Ah, the sounds of summer. The crack of a bat. The splash of a pool. And the dreaded silence of a broken AC. No, don't sweat it. Call the Waterworks Heating and Cooling Team for an AC tune-up. Schedule a visit today and stay cool all summer long. All set. Call the Waterworks Heating and Cooling Team, 614-333-9720, or schedule service on our website. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better AC.
Chops here with a message from Paige and her entire Awaken 180 team. They want to wish all the fan listeners a happy and healthy Independence Day week. Having a party? Find your free recipes at Awaken 180 on all social media channels.
For roof leaks and roof replacements, call Legacy Roofing Services, Central Ohio's commercial roofing leader. Legacy Roofing Services, ranked in the top 100 roofers in America. Call Legacy today, 800-880-ROOF, 800-880-ROOF. Legacy Roofing Services.
America's favorite car show returns to Columbus with a jam-packed weekend of cool cars, cool people, and good times. It's the Good Guys 26th Summit Racing National, and it's all happening July 12th through the 14th at the Ohio Expo Center. Cruise on out with your family and friends and check out over 6,000 of the country's coolest classics on display. And don't miss Good Guys CPP Autocross Racing action, Nitro Thunderfest, a huge swap meet and vendor midway, live music, family fun, and so much more. It's Ohio's biggest hot rod party of the summer, and it's all going down July 12th through the 14th at the Ohio Expo Center. Get details at goodgashguide.com.
Hey, I'm Ruben. My band and I have a new song we're getting ready to record this weekend. I'm also a tow truck driver. When you move over and slow down, you're not only giving me room to work, you're making sure I get to go home at the end of the day and see my bandmates.
Roadside workers have lives and families, but when they're on the job, they put it all on the line to protect and serve us. When you see flashing lights, remember, they're not just roadside workers. Thank you for moving over and slowing down.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We got that Canadian high pressure, which is going to deliver that north wind today. As a result, it'll be much cooler today and less humid. Sunny, high 78. Tonight, clear skies, low 56. Then on your Tuesday, it'll be hotter and more humid with a high of 88. I'm meteorologist Dylan Rubshad with your Doppler 10 forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
The uncle you never knew you had. The friends you kind of wish you didn't. This is Bishop and Friends.
And hey, friends, it's your Uncle Beau for you here. When dealing with the issues of erectile dysfunction, you want to get the right treatment for your specific medical situation. Every case is going to be different. Finding the right treatment can be the difference between a just okay experience and an amazing one. And beyond that, ED is a terrible condition. It causes stress in relationships, creates anxiety, undue hardships on a man, and often on their partner as well. Yet many men suffer for years without seeking treatment. Wait no longer. Give my friends at Tri-State Men's Health a call today. They have treatments that work where the pills and herbals fail, treatments with success rates well over 90%. Do yourself a favor, schedule a consult with Tri-State Men's Health here in town today. Your initial visit is just $99, includes medical consult, licensed medical provider, and a TNPSA test. And if medically advised, a test dose. And if the test dose doesn't work, here's the deal. The office visit is free, so it's a no-lose win-win for you. Give them a call today. Get your sex life back on track. 800-900-9654 or visit tristatemenshealth.com today. 6 locations in the Tri-State, 2 here in town, quick exit off 270 in Hilliard, and near Medical Mile in Westerville as well. All right. You mentioned we were talking about the conference championship games and my bracket, as it were, to play out. So I'm from a TV perspective, in a quarterfinal, you're not going to do better than Ohio State versus the winner of Notre Dame, Bama, Clemson versus, I think it would be Texas, as they would be the winner of them and Boise State. You'd get Georgia versus the winner of Ole Miss and FSU. That's the only one where it would be a second time teams playing. Georgia and Ole Miss play in the regular season, and then Utah and would get the winner of Oregon and Penn State. That would be the weakest of the 4, Tim, from a television perspective, but that's pretty good across the board. You mentioned the conference championship games. Yeah. How long do we have to hold on to these? And I guess let's start there. How long are we locked into them? Because I know that Warren gave one to a television network, NBC, like 2 years out?
Yeah.
So for a while, we're locked into them contractually.
Yeah. I mean, contracts are what it's all about in that regard, so there'd have to be some definitely people putting their heads together. Beau, I came up with a scheme 30 years ago where I said you would get 8 major conferences with minimum 12 teams in them. They would have a conference championship game, so that would be your first round of the playoff, and then the 8 champions would move into the quote NCAA football championship tournament, right? And that made total sense to me.
Okay, hold on.
I like the idea of the conference championships, though, deciding the top 4. I really do like who's in the top, because I really think those teams can claim they have won something. So I don't know where I want to go with that, with the championship games, because just want to throw them out. They make more sense to me now than they did last year.
It's hard because you said, what I thought was interesting about what you said there, you said that 18, you had it as an 8-team conference.
Yeah, 8 conferences. No, 8 conferences with at least 12 teams, 96 teams. Yeah.
Okay, it's 96 teams. So that's big. So if from that perspective, then you're splitting up the SEC. Like, you're not having all of those in one.
But that was back when the SWC and then became the Big 12, and the SEC was content with its little number in the Big 12. I mean, Big 10, et cetera. Yeah,
that's before expansion.
Yes.
Now that we're in expansion, and what to me feels, I'm with you. I like 8. I don't think anybody should get a bye.
Nope.
I think 8 is the number, and I would get rid of the conference championship games entirely. I don't think you need them, and I think that then all of a sudden everybody's playing on a level playing field in terms of games played. Because I'm telling you, if you're Oregon, Ohio State, the loser, let's just pretend that that's the way it goes, and they play 3 times, and I think it's very much in play, or at least play twice to set up potentially playing for 3 times.
Right.
That's a slobber knocker, man.
Oh yeah.
That game in early December.
Absolutely.
If you're Ohio State, you're going to go Michigan, Oregon. If you were to lose the Oregon game, let's say it was inverted and you won out there but then lost the Big Ten championship game. Now you're getting thrown right back into the meat grinder. And if you were the 6, like if you were the 6 as this laid out, you'd have to play in the way that I had this going out in Oregon. I had Oregon's path being losing to Ohio State, then playing in the first round of the playoff against Penn State, and then Utah. All of a sudden you're playing an extra game and another slobber knocker in there. It's hard to justify the idea of, would you even want to play in it?
No, that's the point. See, dude, that's what I broached last year. You can talk to Anthony Rothman and these guys. What I broached last year is this year is really fresh and new, and wow, can't wait to be a part of this. And, you saw where big-time players skipped games last year that didn't matter. Well, I mean, when you talk about this is like a rock crusher kind of deal where you're throwing rocks into this thing and you're banging up against each other. There's just that lineup you just threw out there for Oregon possibility, just the physical nature of that schedule. No matter that you're playing for it all, your little piece of playing for it all, I think you could definitely see big-time possible NFL draftees going, hey, I don't want any part of this. I really truly believe it. And that's not going to happen this year because the excitement level of it's going to be at such a fever pitch and wanting to be a part of it. But then right on down the line when it gets proven that this is a meat grinder, and meat grinder is exactly the term for it, I think it's going to be very interesting to see where it goes. But I think 8 is enough. And that's why I had 8 champions.
16.
Yeah. So,
it's going to be 16.
But that's like divvying things up like you would a regular league, like an NFL or something. I mean, conferences, as we both know, live in a different world. I mean, to compare the SEC and the Big Ten, except for number of teams involved, number of teams or programs involved, they are night and day in a lot of things and a lot of way of thinking. I mean, just like you talk about, Ross Bjork's taking over has taken over as the athletic director of Ohio State. He had 21 sports at Texas A&M. Ohio State's got 36. We kind of touched on that a little earlier. So
we'll get into it.
Just right on down the line. These things are not all apples. They're apples, pears, peaches, whatever you want to call them.
We know that they love the TV money, though. So,
of course,
are they ever going to get rid of these conference championships because it's an extra game on TV and they get eyeballs?
It's a great point out of you. Here's how they will when they go to 16, because then they're getting their game back. Then you get your game back. You go to 16, then you get your game back, and then you make that whole, and then you're not worried about it. Look, we lived in a world in this sport forever where there weren't conference champions, right? Go ask Beau Schembechler when they're voting on who gets to go to the Rose Bowl, right? Like, I mean, that's how this thing used to go. Like, that's a kind of the way. There's plenty of history of we don't need to see this thing play out. And now that you have the 16, here's the thing too, Tim, that I think is going to happen, and I'm with you. It won't happen next year because everyone's going to be excited about it and ready to go. But there will come a time where a kid says, look, I'll play in this run to the college football playoff, but it's going to cost you.
Yeah.
I'm going to need a little bit of taste on that.
Yeah.
That's coming.
You should have been there.
Right now, the kids are holding it hostage.
You should have been there.
They can hold it hostage if they want.
You should have been in the room when I asked Ryan Day and Kirby Smart before the Peach Bowl, the game 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I said, with this game, because that was when it was really going about the expanded playoff, and I said, well, should players share more in this than just getting the ride and a trip through the what do you call it, the gift line, so to speak. And Kirby Smart brought up something that was really interesting from the standpoint of the SEC taking credit, like I say, like NASCAR does, for something they didn't invent, but like how they pay for players' parents, et cetera, family to attend games. Well, that's because of Gene Smith and Urban Meyer.
For sure. I remember that well at the Sugar Bowl.
And Zeke Elliott's mom and dad. I mean, way back
2014.
when. Yeah. So, I mean, and sitting in, there were a lot of people staring at me, and I'm just going, but no, you've got to put some prizes out there. I mean, that are above and beyond what they are today. And it's more than just what you get for the year. I mean, you're putting your wherewithal on the line to play for a national championship, and you should share financially in it.
Just think about this from Ohio State perspective, from an Ohio State players. If it went the way that I lined out here, you're going to play 12 games, 13 games through the conference championship, get the bye. Then you're going to play Bama or Notre Dame. So it's just a ridiculous slobber knocker. Then you would play either Texas. I think you'd play Texas the way I have it breaking. So let's just say it goes that way. So Texas, you're going to go Michigan, Oregon, bye. Then the winner of Notre Dame, Bama, then Texas, and then to win a national championship, you're going to have to go beat Georgia or Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Just think of that.
Well, that's why Ohio State is.
That's what I'm. Yeah. People aren't talking about that part of it enough.
Ohio State is girding girding for a minimum 16-game season this year. 17 if things don't go according to Hoyle in like a Big Ten championship game. You'll be playing 17 like you've got Oregon doing possibly.
Yes. Right.
No, dude, that's the NFL regular season is now 17 games, and number two, they have a waiver wire, a practice squad, and everything else, and like we were talking about a while ago about the quarterbacks. I mean, that's why Ohio State's got 5 quarterbacks. They're going to play Julian Sayin early because you got to have a minimum of 3. To get through this thing, at some point you're going to be going into the depth of your quarterback room. Everybody is.
Yes.
That's just an example. And so the teams that are best stocked, and when you named off these, a lot of these teams, when we were talking about earlier, like a Texas, an Alabama, an Ohio State, a Georgia, they have the best rosters top to bottom, which is going to hold sway in this new format.
It's the depth. Yeah, you're going to have all of it. The man who will be overseeing the future of these decisions at Ohio State is Ross Bjork. He is on the job officially today. We'll go over some of the challenges he'll face, and there's a lot of them coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If you're starting your day any other way, you're doing it wrong. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan.
Raising Cane's iced tea is the official iced tea of me, iced tea. Now, I've heard some people don't order iced tea with their box combos. I've also heard some people spontaneously combust. Sip on that for a while. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
Get your air conditioner fixed fast. Call Care Heating and Cooling. 1-800-COOLING.
Incredible lease deals for my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin. Now through July 6th, lease a 2024 Civic LX for $249 a month, or a 24 Accord LX for $259 a month, even a CRV front-wheel drive for $279 a month. 36-month lease, payments plus tax, title, document fees, and $29.99 due at signing. 10,000 miles a year, includes Honda loyalty with approved credit. From the Honda dealership in Central Ohio, Germain Honda of Dublin, Sawmill Parkway, just south of 270.
The wait is over. Dell Technologies Black Friday and July deals are live. Check out incredible savings on select laptops and more, like the XPS 15, powered by Intel Core processors. The XPS 15 brings you the perfect balance of power and portability, plus stellar visuals and immersive sound. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to exceptional tech and electronics, plus free shipping on everything. Don't miss out on Black Friday and July savings at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Raid wants to know, what would you do if you could confidently face every day knowing you and your loved ones are protected? Would you sing along to your favorite song at the top of your lungs? Turn off the GPS and let your heart do the guiding. Go to the drive-thru and order one of everything. Feel the buzz of confidence of knowing you are protected with 65 years of insect science in your hands. Raid. Protection for everyone.
Much like a vampire, we need to be invited into your house. But once we're in, we never leave. Listen to The Fan on your Alexa or Google Home smart speaker. Just say play 97.1 The Fan and prepare to be amazed. Do it now.
Hi, it's me, Little Bob from Bob's Discount Furniture. I know, you don't know me yet, but I'm here to let you know that I'm opening up a brand new store in your area, located at Taylor Square in Reynoldsburg, bringing even more of my everyday low prices to the people of Ohio. And if you can't wait, mybobs.com is the quickest and easiest way to get unbeatable furniture prices delivered straight to your home today. That's my brand new Bob's Discount Furniture, coming to Reynoldsburg this summer.
Get Bob's Discount! 1-877 Cars for Kids. K-A-R-S Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
America's favorite car show returns to Ohio for the biggest hot rodding event of the year. It's the Good Guys 26th Summit Racing Nationals, and it's all taking place July 12th through the 14th at the Ohio Expo Center in Columbus. Check out thousands of chrome and candied hot rods, muscle cars, and trick trucks. Shop the huge swap meet and vendor midway and see which rides take home the crown of the Good Guys 2024 Classic Instrument Street Rod and PPG Street Machine of the Year. It's all happening July 12th through the 14th at the Ohio Expo Center, and you don't want to miss it. Get complete details at good-guys.com.
Great coaching can make all the difference, especially when it comes to your money. At Right Pac Credit Union, our financial coaches are on your team. We'll help you create a winning game plan that's customized for your unique needs, so you can make the most of your hard-earned money and live the life you want to live. Best of all, Right Pac Credit Union serves all of Central Ohio, so getting in the game is easy. Let's win together. Stop by one of our Central Ohio member centers to get started today. Equal housing opportunity, insured by NCUA.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
The best hair on the air. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Ross Bjork on the job. We're up on the YouTube. What do you got, Beck? We got a comment we want to get answered?
Yeah, I thought this one was good. Mike Reed says, Beau, please tell me that is General Sherman the horse behind you.
That's right.
Says great pictures, by the way.
Yeah. We've got Hop Cassidy here, and then we've got the General William Tecumseh up and to the right.
What about General Beauregard?
Well, I continue to do the show in Columbus, Ohio, Tim. When I start doing the show in Birmingham, then General Beauregard can come around.
Did you ever tell them about me leaving you messages?
You did, yeah. Tim used to do that. So, and I was named after him.
I know you were. Yeah, exactly.
So Tim would call and do General Beauregard's voice.
General Beauregard with the 31st out of Virginia.
That was right. That's how they would all go, General Beauregard. And you're usually somewhere on the Indiana front.
Yeah, I was.
Usually you were over there trying to sort things out.
French Lick was my favorite battleground.
French Lick was a very solid battleground. You ran a great campaign up there. We were all very proud of your fight.
We're a bunch of renegades. Go ahead.
We mentioned Ross Bjork on the job. So Ohio State has, from an athletic department standpoint, they have 33 men's and women's and then 2 co-ed. So I'm guessing that's like the rifle and those type of things. So they've got 35 varsity teams at Ohio State. His previous job at Texas A&M, they had 20. At Ole Miss, he was there before he went to Texas A&M. They had 18. Right. This is very consistent with a lot of the schools in the South. In fact, there isn't really anybody who punches the way Ohio State punches in football that's even in the vicinity of 35 teams and trying to be at that level. It's just not when you think of the ones that care most about football the way that Ohio State does. As Ross Bjork is now, Gene Smith built a behemoth. And you and I both agree, and it feels like others as well, that this is not sustainable going forward. How does he go about navigating it? I mean, he knows what he signed up for, but how does he decide what can we do and what can't we do? Because it seemed to me there'd be 2 paths, Tim. You could either cut sports entirely, which I don't think they want to do, or you could cut budgets to sports, in which case you're cutting the legs out from them competitively.
Well, that's where it's going to go. I mean, you like Gene was talking about the other day, there's no real plan right now that he understood to just whack a sport, but there's a you've got to be thinking along the terms of finances that many are going to have their budgets slash may not be the right term, but that's pretty close, you know.
Sure.
And so the expectation is the word they keep using for them to compete necessarily consistently on a national level. That's what's going to go to the wayside for some of these sports. You know, I don't think they're going to necessarily announce that, but you'll be able to see, you know, after the first couple of budgets over the next couple of years, you'll be able to see which ones they've put their eggs, which baskets they put most of their eggs in, and that'll be the way of telling it. But there's, you know, I mean, these sports at Ohio State have enjoyed quite a luxury run, if that's the right term, of like getting to fly a lot more places, getting, you know, in essence, from a transportation and housing standpoint on trips and things, and where they've gotten to with some of those trips. I'm sure some of those, because that's a big line item veto, as you know, Beau, is transportation to big time events across across the globe, or definitely across the Western Hemisphere. So we'll see where that goes in that. But there's no doubt, in the same breath as Gene Smith was pointing out, football has got, if anything else, football's got to get more of the horse feed, you know, not less, because football is driving it. And
football just needs to keep their own feed instead of sharing it with everybody else.
But I mean, in some respects, football could use maybe even a little bit more because it's bringing it in. I mean,
wouldn't they get it?
But we both know from the revenue sharing
from everybody else.
We both know from a revenue sharing standpoint, football is going to rule the roost. You know, from the standpoint of numbers involved, and then on top of that, you know, they're talking about for one of another term, it may not be named this, but a new Woody Hayes Athletic Center from the standpoint of the offices, training rooms, et cetera, building that basically on the east edge of the where the practice fields are now, probably building a huge new building there because they have guys sharing. They have people in the current one sharing closets, you know, for their offices. And, but, you know, how big does it have to be, really, when you think about it? But you got to keep up with the Joneses, right? But when you are one of the Joneses, you know, it's paramount you keep climbing that mountain. As Nick Saban said, once you get up there, suddenly you are the mountain. Yeah. And you got to stay there. And so I'm sure it will be looked at like 5-10 years from now. A lot of other people taking sacrifices just to maintain the football program where it is. But the thing is, you wouldn't be where you were if it were not for the football program. So it was, you know. But let me say this. Yeah. That's why it was interesting because, you know, I tweeted immediately when they hired Ross Bjork because I'd heard it was down to three people. It might have been 4, but 3 is what I heard. But one of them was Pat Chun. I thought it was Pat Chun's job, you know, at that moment.
I think we all did, yeah.
Guy who had learned under Gene Smith and gone on and done pretty good things at Florida Atlantic and Washington State. And in my opinion, lesser programs made the most that he could from there. And but now that I look at it now, I was talking to somebody within the athletic department a couple of weeks ago, and they said, you know, Pat, though, has some ties, big-time ties with a lot of Ohio State people. And I believe Pat would have done the job, by the way. But when you bring in a guy who really has no ties now, and he's coming in from an athletic department that looks probably more like what Ohio State's going to look like 5 years from now than it does now, he has no real ties from a sentiment standpoint. He can make the hard calls and not necessarily – he will be concerned about it and worried about it, but it won't. You know, it's not like it's
not personal.
Yeah, it's not personal. That's the best line. And that's why the Ross Bjork thing, I got to give Ted Carter credit. I think the Ross Bjork thing made more sense and more sense to me from when I'm looking at it from that standpoint. And number 2, I like Ross. Man, I know from having friends who went to Texas A&M and my baby brother Tony, who's 66, I always like to say that way, who has a good friend still living in Lufkin, who has his private jet flown over to Texas A&M for their home games. It's only 100 miles away. You understand what I'm saying?
I do, yeah.
Dude, you're dealing with a group down there that's unbelievable from the standpoint of wanting to be part of it all, as we saw what they did in the NIL front immediately. So I think Ross is having a little bit of a fresh air situation, but really, would you wish what major college sports are going through right now, the confluence, the storm that they're going through right now, on anybody being the head of it all?
Well, they made their own bed, so this is what you get.
Correct.
When you do that. I think what Ohio State hired, and just in very immediate press conference with Bjork, you could tell it was a different tone, acknowledging that pay for play is coming. Like, he's been in the snake pit. He knows what's coming, and now he's got this massive arsenal that is Ohio State athletics and is the booster for and all of it. And I think he's the perfect guy for the job at the right time. And Pat ended up at Washington. That's a great gig.
Correct.
So that's a win for Pat as well. But I think Ohio State got the right man for the job because they're going to be hard decisions. Folks, just so you wrap your head on this, Texas, who most people say, well, that's the most similar institution to Ohio State in the country. Texas has 21 varsity teams.
Correct.
They have 21. Oregon is coming into this league with 18. The bloated conference, the bloated athletic departments are all up here. It's us. Michigan's right below us. They got 29. Penn State's got 31. It's Big State U in the North that's kept this on. Go ahead, Beau.
And, Beau, how about this? Not only all that stuff with everything that's going on in college and all of that, but before his first official day on the job, he's already been involved in 3 head coaching hires in major sports.
Yeah, and those were bold hires.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Jake Dealer's a bold hire.
Yes, it is.
So those are big time hires.
I
do too. I'm just saying it's bold.
I mean, the impression. I'm sitting here. I was playing in the Buckeye Boosters golf outing last Monday, and he spoke to the group before James Laurinaitis did. Yeah. And what stands out to me when you hear him talk, but what they have done in this offseason, I mean, they've become an attractive team, an attractive program to guys from North Carolina, Kentucky, Duke. I mean, right on down the line who are coming here to play. I mean, it's like it's not just Ross Bjork and Gene Smith who see something in Jake Diebler. Yeah. So do basketball players, which is the most important.
I mean, there were conversations with Calipari.
Yeah.
So
supposedly,
I think a little more.
Yeah, I know,
more,
but
more than I think. I'm not saying it came from this end. I'm saying maybe the other end.
I'm talking about from was it a two-way deal? There. Is the big question.
Yeah, but I mean that's big fish. So this is a big job right now for him. He's got a lot of water to try to navigate. He's already made some big decisions, and more are going to have to come. We think or not a thing.
I think he's
next.
Impressive.
I agree. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're the girthiest radio station in the history of radio. Uncomfortably girthy. This promo is uncomfortable. The Fan, Ohio's girth destination.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Let's talk about your sleep. Specifically, if you're not getting enough of it. If you're feeling groggy all day because you didn't sleep well, that is an awful feeling. I've been there. And if you're snoring when you sleep, well, that could be a big reason why you aren't feeling rested. This fact surprised even me the first time I heard it, and that is as you age, your risk of having obstructive sleep apnea nearly doubles. That's right. You need to find out if your snoring is related to sleep apnea, because if it is, there's actually help available for you right now. Dr. Mark Levy is board certified in the treatment of sleep apnea, and he offers a custom-fitted oral appliance that effectively treats sleep apnea. I have been telling you about this for years. And maybe you've been snoring for years. Now's the time to get this fixed. Plus, most Medicare patients have little to no out-of-pocket costs for this treatment. So you need to stop putting it off. Don't ignore your snore. Get your sleep apnea treated by calling Dr. Mark Levy today at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. Get the life back you deserve. Call Dr. Mark Levy today, 1-800-MORE-SLEEP, or visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com.
Ready for an amazing deal? BreezeLine's fiber-powered internet, starting at $19.99 per month, offers the reliability you deserve and security you can trust. Whether you're streaming, gaming, or working from home, we've got all your needs covered with speeds up to 1 gig and our 2-year price lock guarantee. This deal gets even better with 2 free months of internet, free equipment, and free Wi-Fi your way to protect against cyber threats. Act now. Terms and conditions apply. Offer expires July 8th, 2024. Learn more at breezeline.com.
O'Reilly. Don't miss out on summer brake deals at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, get 15% off a set of Brake Best Select, Select Pro, or Import Direct brake pads and 2 rotors. Restore quality braking and improve stopping performance with parts and advice from the professional parts people. Save money now when you visit O'Reilly Auto Parts or O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. The Buckeyes are starting fall camp and we're tagging along. The Fan is broadcasting live August 1st through the 4th at Ohio State football practice. Morning juice and Bishop and Friends Thursday and Friday, plus live weekend programming. Let's go.
Now at White Castle, you can get 12 chicken rings for just $3.99. Tender on the inside, crispy on the outside. Choose from classic, Hidden Valley Ranch, or new smoky barbecue. White Castle. Follow your crave. Limited time only at participating castles. Tax not included.
Find savings to celebrate this 4th of July with one stop at Meijer. Pick up fresh from Meijer 80% lean ground beef family pack for just $2.99 per pound. And family pack chicken drumsticks for 99 cents per pound. Bulk sweet corn is 5 for $1 this week. Meijer potato chips are 3 for $6. And Aunt Millie's Stadium buns are $1.99. Plus, get even more great deals with buy 5, save $5. Get everything you need for July 4th this week at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in store or in the Meijer app.
Hi, it's Bob Capace from Worthington Jewelers. Need a perfect gift? Check out the new line of Glock watches and other stunning jewelry at Worthington Jewelers. Make every occasion sparkle with Worthington Jewelers, where exceptional gifts await.
Atlas Butler is built to keep you comfortable, and our plumbing services are no exception. You can rely on Atlas Butler for trusted, convenient plumbing and drain service. Our expert plumbers and drain specialists can take care of anything, from a broken water heater to a clogged drain. Call today, get it fixed today. That's our pledge to you.
Atlas Butler is at your service. Call 1-800-FURNACE.
Hey, what's up, Buckeye Nation? It's Cardell Jones. Join me Saturday, July 20th at Huntington Park for the Smith's Cardell Jones Charity Softball Game presented by Monogram Homes and the U.S. Air Force. Come check out former Buckeye greats take on this year's current Buckeye stars such as Emeka Ibuka, Jaden Ballard, and many more. Come see and meet the Buckeyes before they hit the field this fall. Gates open at 5 p.m. Contests and prizes all night long. Home run derby at 6:30 and the game to follow. Tickets available at BuckeyeCruise.com. Why picnic when you can smicknick? Get your $10 tickets now at BuckeyeCruise.com.
Want to know anything about the Fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Beau knows many people. He talks to the interesting ones on this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
Indeed, it is time for a little thing or not a thing. Hit it, Bake.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
All right, Beau, I thought this was interesting from the weekend, and if it's true, could be huge for Ohio State men's basketball, and they would have their first NBA lottery pick since D'Angelo Russell went second overall to the Lakers in 2015. Gary Parrish of CBS Sports put out his initial mock draft for 2025, and at number 14, he has the New Orleans Pelicans selecting Aaron Bradshaw. Here's what he had to say. Bradshaw was a top 5 prospect in the class of 2023, whose freshman year at Kentucky didn't go so well. He averaged 4.9 points, 3.3 rebounds, and 13.8 minutes per game after missing much of the preseason in the first month of the season with an injury. That was disappointing, but the former McDonald's All-American is still a 7-foot athlete with real stretch big potential. Now that he's transferred to Ohio State, I won't be surprised if he does enough next season to again make himself a part of the lottery conversation. Think Khalil Ware, who was also a heralded high prospect who struggled in his first year of college, but then he transferred to Indiana and became a top 15 pick. The numbers pretty similar for Ware. He was the number 7 overall prospect in 2022. He went to Oregon. As a freshman, he had 6.6 points per game, 4.1 rebounds, 1.3 blocks, and just 15.8 minutes per game. And then we know what happened, and now he's in the NBA. Thing or not a thing?
Well, it's a thing. It was a thing when they landed him. As it turns out, and I told this on the show, like I took NBC down to Kentucky to celebrate like no longer coaching him anymore. And so we went to a Kentucky game and through back channels ended up going to a Kentucky practice and watching the entire practice. So I watched him practice. I watched him up close. We were near courtside when we watched the game against Arkansas that day. He is big. He is lengthy. He is impressive. He is someone who was in a logjam at the position at Kentucky. So the way that Cal recruited Kentucky basketball was similarly to the way that Ohio State handled football this year, which was simply, if you have talent, we'll take you, and then we'll sort it out from there. And that's what Kentucky did. And so he was just kind of in a logjam because skill-wise, they had that big Z guy who was playing a lot of that, and they had a couple of upperclassmen. So there just was it was just a logjam. They had 3 7-footers who could all play. So there just wasn't room. Well, he's going to have room to operate now. So I think he could have a monster year, and I think he's probably the biggest get for Jake Diebler this offseason, Tim.
Yeah, it's really funny because Diebler brought that up the other day when I told you we were sitting there talking.
Yeah.
He was talking. He's like, and this guy is 7 foot. I understand that's important around here. Meaning, people have always lamented, why can't Ohio State have a true big man? And this young man looks the part. Like you said, it looks like he just wants a chance to really get out there and play. And, of course, he's coming to Ohio State, shuffle the deck a little bit. And so, yeah, I mean, I like this way of thinking. I think this guy could really blossom over the next 9 months or 10 months and be sitting right there on lottery night.
I think this team with Bradshaw and Sean Stewart, athletic bigs like that, is going to be so fun to watch. Former number 1 overall NFL draft pick Jamarcus Russell has been fired as a volunteer assistant coach at his alma mater, Williamson High School in Mobile, Alabama, and he's facing a lawsuit accusing him of taking a $74,000 check meant as a donation to the school. Chris Knowles, a local business owner, wrote the check saying Russell approached him about a donation to help the Williamson football team purchase weight room equipment. The school allegedly never received the check. Russell reportedly deposited in a credit union and promptly withdrew $55,000 of it. Thing or not a thing?
I'm going to go with sad thing here because Jamarcus Russell was a $32 million in total guaranteed compensation from the NFL guy. So he got $32 million for playing NFL football. It was a 6-year, $61 million deal, but he flamed out pretty quickly. He was a monster recruit. Florida State was in on him at the end. I remember covering his recruitment a lot out of Mobile. That was always a battle. Like Bowden liked being in that part of the country, and it was obviously an Alabama stronghold as well. But he's committed to Saban, if memory serves, and that's how he ended up at LSU. That was one of Saban's very, very first big wins. He was a 5-star kid. But it's gross behavior, and it's just one of those things where who knows what decisions led him to this point. But man, he really mismanaged a lot of money if he's stealing $55,000 from a high school.
All that purple drank.
Ever since the draft, it's been just like a sort of a slow motion downhill run for him, and it's just too bad because he's a guy that played quarterback but never learned to play quarterback. If you follow my drift.
That's it exactly.
And then right on down. I mean, all the talent in the world, and this is really, like you said, I think the best word is sad because what's really going on with him is what you really want to know. I mean, when you get fired from being a volunteer assistant, I'm not
That's
sure.
your alma mater, Tim.
Yeah, the Joe Dirt saga is better than that. Yeah.
NFL league sources have confirmed that the league has told teams there will not be a supplemental draft this year. The supplemental draft has been happening since 1977, and it was an option for draft-eligible players who did not declare for the regular NFL draft. Normally, these were players that had unexpected eligibility issues in college, whether academic or discipline. A player hasn't been selected in the supplemental draft over the last 5 years, but the supplemental draft has produced several noteworthy players such as Bernie Kosar, Chris Carter, and Josh Gordon. The last player that was selected in the supplemental draft was Arizona Cardinals defensive back Jalen Thompson in 2019. Thing or not a thing?
So I think that it is clearly a thing that there's not a supplemental draft this year, Tim, but we're up against a little bit. So I'd just say this. There's a bunch of factors that lead into that and why that's the case. And a lot of it is free transfer and NIL and the NCAA not having the power they used to have. I do want to – the Bernie one I'm curious on. Chris, you would have lived through. We'll talk a little bit about both of those things coming up here next and get you your weekend sports blitz as well. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Radio. Mark your calendars for Diamond Seller's Wedding Weekend, July 26th and 27th. Hi, it's Alex Johnson from the Diamond Seller. Wedding Weekend is back with unbeatable offers you won't want to miss. Join us for buy one, get one half off wedding bands, 20% off diamond anniversary bands, and special offers on diamond engagement rings. We've had the guaranteed best price and an unmatched selection for over 77 years. Choose a jeweler you can trust and come see us July 26th and 27th at Diamond Seller on Sawmill Road.
With surgery and drugs being the main options to treat chronic joint pain, that left orthopedic surgeons like Dr. Ray Tessner thinking,
geez, wouldn't it be nice if we can have another form of treatment that eliminates some of the downside and has a bigger upside as we learn more about it?
And then he found it. Regenerative medicine, an exciting, fast-growing approach to dealing with pain using healing agents from your own body.
Well, it's using the miracle benefits of the human body to help encourage healing.
Today, you'll find Dr. Tessner at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, giving patients lasting relief from joint pain in their knees, hips, shoulders, and back.
It's one of the best management tools that has come around in a long time.
Finally, options other than surgery and steroids. All natural regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics. Learn more. Call today for your free consultation.
Go to QCkinetics.com/Columbus or call 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
It's the symphonic rock experience everyone's talking about. The Columbus Symphony Orchestra performs Windborne's The Music of Led Zeppelin, featuring conductor Brent Havens, a full rock band, and vocalist Randy Jackson. The hits of Led Zeppelin performed as you've never heard them before. Saturday, July 6th, the Columbus Commons. Get tickets now at picnicwiththepops.com. Full details at windbornemusic.com. Presented by Nationwide Picnic with the Pops.
This summer, click into easier yard cleanup with same-day delivery from the Home Depot. Click into clearing overgrown grass or weeds with effortless gas-like power. And click into the convenience of a battery platform compatible with over 250 tools with the Milwaukee M18 fuel trimmer, now for just $199. Click into power with 4th of July savings now at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Order select and stock items by 4 p.m. subject to availability.
The wait is over. Dell Technologies Black Friday and July deals are live. Check out incredible savings on select laptops and more, like the XPS 15, powered by Intel Core processors. The XPS 15 brings you the perfect balance of power and portability, plus stellar visuals and immersive sound. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to exceptional tech and electronics, plus free shipping on everything. Don't miss out on Black Friday and July savings at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Ryan Baker. The Columbus Blue Jackets this morning have released the rosters for developmental camp, which gets underway tomorrow at the Ice House. All 6 draft picks from this past weekend will be in attendance. NHL free agency begins at noon today. Expect the CBJ to add a player or two. One name Elliot Freeman is reporting that Jackets fans should look out for is Sean Monahan. He expects him to end up with the CBJ or back in Winnipeg. The Reds and Guardians both off today after losses yesterday. The Reds fell to the Cardinals 2-0. The Guardians fall to Kansas City 6-2. Paul George has agreed to a 4-year, $212 million deal with the 76ers. The 76ers are also giving Tyrese Maxey a $204 million extension. Chris Paul is signing a 1-year deal with the Spurs, and James Harden is returning to the Clippers for $70 million.
First Friday miracles are always better with Uncle Beau. This is Bishop and Friends.
So, man, I was looking into this supplemental thing, and I know you have your handle on the Chris Carter part of it because he was in it. You would have covered that directly, talking to the great Tim May, of course. And then there's the Bernie Kosar side of it, which is even more convoluted than I realized, but it's a story that I want to tell. So we'll get into both of those stories coming up at 11:20 because there's a lot going on both sides of it. Before we blitz the weekend, I did see this from Chris Vanini, who had this kind of put into perspective, because today is the day when you have college football officially changing, with Texas and Oklahoma officially into the SEC. All of the ACC changes have happened as well. There's the crazy play that SMU is doing where they're saying, hey, we don't need any money at all on this side of things. In fact, this is Chris actually has this one pinned. SMU's biggest donors put together $100 million within a week of the ACC announcement last year. Yeah. They'll get a few $100 million to replace ACC TV money. So that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's how that's operating. Like, that's one of the grandest plans ever.
SMU.
But before you weigh in on that, on SMU, I just want to tell you, 33 college football teams, FBS teams, have changed conferences as a result of Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC 3 years ago, announcing it. Yeah. 33 programs, Tim.
That's called dominoes, man. That's called dominoes. And if don't get into the big game of dominoes if you're not ready for it. And, it's pretty interesting. I mean, and you know what? It goes back a long way, but that's too far to get into that. But, it's crazy. And, it's still not done yet. As I told Gene Smith at the end of our little talk there. I said I still think North Carolina and Notre Dame end up in the Big Ten eventually. And he kind of agreed with me to a certain extent about Notre Dame. Wasn't sure about North Carolina, but I see it happening, man. I've been seeing it happening for 2 years.
Yeah. And then what else beyond that? I wanted to ask you this about SMU. I have such I pay attention to him. Infatuation's too strong, but I enjoy a lot about it. I like the seedy underbelly. I love the pony excess. I love the uniforms, all of it. Does that go back to the old Southwest Conference days when it comes to the other teams that were in that league's view of SMU that kept them from ever joining the Big 12? Because they made more sense in the Big 12 than Central Florida ever did.
Well, of course they did.
And yet they were always on the outside looking in, and now they're having to pay their own way in the ACC. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, God, there's a team in Dallas that cares a lot about football. To me, they would be attractive. Is it just that history that kept them on the outside looking in?
Yeah, you know how you're at a party and there's one guy in the group who's always yelling. You know what I mean? And always, I was going to say something bad there, and I caught myself because I'm on regional to national radio here. But that was SMU, because if Texas, they always claimed that they were just doing overtly what Texas was doing, under the table, the whole time, in Oklahoma State and everybody else. But that's what bothered. That's what bothered them. Is kind of like, what's this guy going to say when he gets drunk, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, that's a good way to describe it. Yeah.
And I know it's Southern Methodist, but a lot of things have been done in the name of the Lord, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, that was it. I mean, they kind of like wore out their welcome at the party, and Hayden Fry was the first coach in the Southwest Conference to play a African-American player in Jerry Levias and play him, extensively. And so they were always on the cutting edge in one form or fashion. So there's a lot of good about SMU, but they have been blatant about how much they want to be a main play, a big time player in the big party.
Well, they are now. They're going to get a dance card now.
That's a great example. A great example.
Yep, they got it. All right, let's blitz the weekend.
Bishop and Friends present a weekend sports blitz.
All right, I believe I had that, Bake. What did you have this weekend?
I had Alex Pereira knocking out Yuri Prohaska in retaining his UFC light heavyweight champion. Last Wednesday night on the Money, I said that was my best bet at -110. Pereira to win by knockout. And not only did I say that, I said he would win in the second round, and he knocked Yuri Prohaska out with 14 seconds into the second round with a head kick. Pereira, Poetan as they call him, has now defended his light heavyweight championship twice. He was the middleweight champion before that. They're saying he may possibly go up and chase a third belt at heavyweight. I think he's the baddest man on the planet right now.
Good job out of you. That's a heck of a call right there. Tim, what'd you have this weekend?
It's going to sound funny, but I had San Jose getting Macklin Celebrini only because I watched this guy's highlights, and I'm just going, there are some can't-miss guys out there, even in hockey, but they still got to go into the right situation. And I don't know. I like the way this guy plays.
I had long time ago, and I would pour cold water on any time any sort of ember would start to ignite on the idea that LeBron James is going to leave the Lakers. I know what you're saying. Wait a second. He's a free agent. Yeah, he's just going to get a bigger contract is all this is about. When they drafted Bronny, which we all knew that they were going to do, and then they did it. And by the way, I liked Woj's point. Like, there's nepotism all over in the league, in ownership, in front office, and everywhere. Why can't there be in basketball as well? So fine. I think all that's fine. LeBron James was never going to play anywhere other than the Lakers. He cannot leave that operation with just one title in a bubble and in the lurch. He's going to live the rest of his life in L.A. He's never going to leave it without laying it all out on the court. And I think what you're going to see is that over the course of the next couple of weeks. What didn't you have, Bake?
I'll tell you what I didn't have this morning, Beau, was Tim May watching Macklin Celebrini highlights. Good job out of him.
That's right.
Speaking of hockey, though.
That's what I tuned out, by the way. Go ahead.
I didn't have the Jackets making the fourth pick Friday night.
Yeah.
I thought that they were going to trade it, and it sounds like there were deals with multiple teams that were in place but fell through for one reason or another. If Lindstrom wasn't there, Waddell said they had a trade in place to make the trade because Lindstrom was the guy that they wanted. They did not. So I really thought that pick was going to get traded. I'm not sure that would have been the right move. I like the pick of Lindstrom, but I did not have that.
Tim, what didn't you have this weekend?
I did not have Max Verstappen and Lando Norris coming together the way they did in what the last several laps of the Austrian Grand Prix, and then George Russell getting his second ever victory. I did not see that coming. I thought Max Verstappen would drive away from Lando Norris at the end. Instead, it was the opposite of that and drove into him. And next thing you know, George Russell gets his second Formula One victory. That's what I did not have.
I did not have that Rockford, Illinois was actually a pretty good place if you got to spend some time for youth sports.
Yeah.
It was all right. You know, some rolling hills, some farmland, a great view of a cornfield out the window. But there was a ton of development. It was really convenient. We were no more than 3 minutes from where we were playing, which was awesome. You were able to bounce back and forth between the hotel and the complex. So good job out of Rockford, Illinois.
By the way, Danica Patrick is from Roscoe, which is just north suburb of Rockford, Illinois. So
I didn't see downtown. I was on the perimeter,
Gotcha.
so I didn't see it, but it was a good job in terms of hosting this. The only thing I didn't like was the drive. Player that impressed the most.
But for me, it is Simone Biles. 27 years old is not old at all, but in the gymnastics world, it's getting up there. She qualifies for the U.S. Olympic team. She still, as the kids say, she can jump out the gym. I saw a picture online of her, and it showed where her head was. It was 12 feet off the ground.
Good
so
Lord.
She has some hops, and she's still one of the best in the world, even at 27 years old.
Did she qualify first for us?
That I'm not sure, and I know she qualified for the team. I think they're still qualifying for individual events,
Okay.
but man, she is still really good.
Yep.
Tim? I had Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
She can fly.
You know, it kind of reminds me, who was that Russian weightlifter way back when who would add a kilogram to his lifts every, just to set a new world record. I'm telling you, I think more's even come from this lady, the way she ran the 400-meter hurdles in qualifying for the Olympic U.S. Olympic team. She's just stout and quite impressive.
I'm going to give it to the boys. They managed the car ride okay. I mean, there were no fights. We survived. I didn't drive off the road. It was at times very stressful drive around as you come out of Indiana, around Chicago, and all the constructions that was there, which made it a lot longer than it needed to be. But they handled themselves well, and I was shocked that they did because I thought for sure I was going to leave one of them by the side of the road. Player who disappointed you the most, Bake?
This is the whole Cincinnati Reds offense when Hunter Green pitches. Hunter Green is 5-4 on the year right now, but his stats are way better than that. He's got a 3.70 ERA. He struck out 109 in 97.1 innings pitched. He has been awesome this year for the Reds for the most part. The offense, they don't hit for him. Yesterday was the fourth time the offense has been shut out when Hunter Green is on the mound. The eighth time they've scored less than 2 runs. Hunter Green deserves better than that.
Tim?
Akshay Bhatia. I mean, you got to it's like Rory McIlroy all over again. You make a little short putt, you win the turn. I mean, you basically go to a playoff.
Yeah.
He missed the short putt. I hate watching that, man, because as the old saying goes, I've been there in a match play with like you or Sean Dunnigan or Dom Taberi or Moose. But I mean, there's no reason the putt doesn't go in except one reason, and you choked on it. And It's just too bad because I love watching this guy play, man. He looks like he should be able to hit the ball about 100 yards. Instead, he hits it about 300 and has a great game. He's left-handed, which sets him apart. And that's got to be tough to deal with. The good thing was, though, he got a victory earlier this year, so he can lean on that.
So, player who disappointed the most, my wife's navigation. So, she had one job. She had the Waze. For whatever reason, I can't get the Waze to play through Apple CarPlay in her car. So she has one job, which is to look at my Waze and tell me when it gets hairy. And there was really only 2 spots, and it's right around Gary, Indiana. There's all this construction that's happening. Then there's another one that's right around, as you're making that drive around Chicago, where right around O'Hare, where it's really kind of crazy with the construction, all of those things. So I'm like big time here. Here we go. Like, lock in. Where am I going? What am I doing? Tons of traffic. It's raining, and she's hitting the window, wanting the boys to look at some shop or store that's out of the right side of the car. And I'm going 190 or 90, 190 or 90, 190 or 90. And so she just goes, I think it's this one. And so I went, and it was the wrong one. And as I'm making the turn off, I'm watching the Waze purple line go the other way out of the corner of my eye. And I just went, you had one job.
Yeah.
This was it. This is the one job.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
like
you were getting your, yeah, exactly. You were thinking about your top 12. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I did that later. Yeah. I had one job. Just tell me the lane. That's it. Bud Kilmer, honorary coach of the week, Bake.
For me, it's Paul Wolf. He's the crew chief for Joey Logano's NASCAR team. Yesterday at the Ally 400 in Nashville, they had like 4 overtimes in this race because they kept wrecking. Guys were running out of gas all over the racetrack, causing more wrecks because they had gone like 50 miles longer than they did. Wolf got Joey Logano to the finish line just in time because as he was going over the finish line, he ran out of fuel as well, but they had it marked out perfect that they could get him to the end of the race, and they did, and he got the win.
Tim, Bud Kilmer?
I don't know. I'm going to go with, have the Blue Jackets actually named their head coach yet?
They have not yet.
We got Porty coming up.
But you know what I'm talking about. I was going to come in homage to Porty because,
He's your honorary coach of the week.
Yeah, because I think it's going to, I would think he gets named sooner rather than later. So I'm going to go as the honorary coach of this week. Todd McClellan, I mean, he's going to get the job, isn't he? I mean, you know what everybody's saying?
Feels like it. We'll ask Porty. He's coming up at 11:33. I'm going to go with our fantastic program director, Fish, on this one.
Oh.
We were looking for a place to eat, and we were going through all these things like Chicagoland or the best you can do in Rockford, and we ended up at Portillo's.
Yeah.
I have not had Portillo's in 20-some years. It would have been like 1999, 2000 the last time I had it. I ordered the exact same thing I ordered then, now. It tasted damn good going down, and I'll leave it at that.
Portillo's is way underrated. I agree with you 150%.
It's really good. And the kids loved it. Everybody loved it. Crushed it. But very, very good. Very solid. All right. We talked a little bit about, Bake asked the question about the supplemental draft, which got me digging in on Bernie Kosar, and I know you were there for the Chris Carter part of it. How those Kosar especially, it's stupefying what he did to get himself to the Cleveland Browns. We'll get you those stories coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We know everything about you. We know you love the Buckeyes. We know you love the Jackets. We know you're wearing a red shirt. I just freaked the hell out of someone. The Fan.
It's the Kia Summer Sticker Sales Event. So give your friends something to look at and make this a summer to share and save. With a capable Kia SUV like the Sorento, Sportage, Seltos, or Telluride, or a powerful sedan like the fun-to-drive Forte. Each backed by a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. And for a limited time, get 1.9% APR for 48 months for well-qualified buyers and $1,000 bonus cash on specially tagged 2024 Sportage and Sorento models. Kia, movement that inspires.
Call 800-333-4KIA for details. Financing for 24 to 48 months from Kia Finance, subject to credit approval for purchase of a new 2024 Sportage or Sorento. Excludes hybrids and PHEVs. $21.65 per month per $1,000 financed at 48 months. $1,000 bonus cash on specially tagged models must be applied as down payment. Must take delivery by 7/8/24. Limited inventory. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See retailer for details.
Driving plays a big part in driving the local economy. It helps us all get where we're going and creates good jobs close to home. At Synovus Energy, our refineries in Toledo and Lima are a reliable domestic source of gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel. Plus, more than 2,300 employees and contractors work for us here in Ohio. See how we're helping local communities move forward at Synovus.com.
This is Ice-T, repping Raising Cane's Iced Tea, the official iced tea of iced tea. Brewed throughout the day and perfectly poured over Cane's signature crushed ice makes Cane's Iced Tea the only iced tea as fresh as me. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
Now at UDF, buy 3 everyday favorites with UDrive Plus to quickly stack an extra 20 cents in gas savings. That includes Monster Energy and Red Bull and Gatorade and Body Armor. And that adds up. UDF, made for you. Specially marked products with an opted-in UDrive account.
Guess what? Our ugly faces are on YouTube. Search 971 The Fan and watch all your favorite shows. Laptop, phone, tablet, smart TV, we're everywhere. Bring us in the bedroom with you. Yes, The Fan.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Bobby Carpenter here for Affinity Whole Health, the leader in the testosterone and hormone replacement therapy game. And weight loss too, that's right. Affinity offers semaglutide injections for weight loss in addition to their testosterone treatments so you can lose weight and build muscle. They customize a plan directly for you. They added peptides to my TRT. They've added semaglutide with my friend's testosterone, and the results are amazing. They're pumped about summertime and pool season, so check them out at feelgreatcolumbus.com. That's feelgreatcolumbus.com.
2 hours ago, Kyle arrived at the bar.
Hey, what's everyone drinking?
30 minutes ago, Kyle got his friends another round of drinks.
Cheers!
5 minutes ago, Kyle decided to drive home drunk. A minute ago, a law enforcement officer pulled up behind Kyle.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
A chain of events that began 2 hours ago is about to change Kyle's whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
You can use your phone at a doctor's office. You can use your phone at a football game. You can even use your phone at an amusement park. But one place you should never use your phone is behind the wheel. Fines now start at $150. So remember, Ohio, phones down. It's the law.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
A lot of sunshine out there today with a high of 78. Tonight will cool off to about 56. And then on your Tuesday, look for mostly sunny skies with a high of 88. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your Doppler 10 forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
After putting up with Tom Tiberi for a decade, the broadcast gods gave Beau these two. This is Bishop and Friends.
Beau Bake and great friend Tim May joining us here on the program today. Bake asked us about the supplemental draft and the fact that there's not going to be one anymore. The two most famous instances of the supplemental draft benefiting a team are the Philadelphia Eagles drafting Chris Carter in the 4th round of the supplemental draft in 1987, and then the incredible play that Bernie Kosar did to get himself to the Cleveland Browns. Mm-hmm. What do you remember about the Chris Carter supplemental draft? Obviously, you would have been in the thick of that, Tim.
Oh, it was crazy. I mean, I remember when he got suspended, and then we're over at a press conference over in Indianapolis. This is before the season, and all of a sudden, the guys who had gotten suspended from Pittsburgh had paid back their money. I think it was a Pittsburgh player and somebody else, University of Pittsburgh, and they suddenly were back, declared eligible. We're going to have to sit out some games. And Ohio State, all of a sudden, Chris Carter wanted to do the same thing. Earl Bruce wanted to do the same thing, except Rick Bay said no. And that's not going to happen. He broke the rules, and we
was
moved
Rick
on
Bay
from that.
for our audience who isn't familiar?
Yeah, of Athletic Director.
Athletic Director
of Ohio State.
Yeah.
And then suddenly there, it's a supplemental draft. And I'm telling you, to this day, yes, Marvin Harrison Jr. is fantastic, and run him down the line and name you 100 receivers. Chris Carter's about as good as I've ever seen at wide receiver from just, are you kidding me? And he goes, I think it was
fourth
round, to Philadelphia, which got a steal, and then they didn't know what to do with him. And, Buddy Ryan said all he does is catch touchdowns. which I'm going, okay.
Feels like
next question. But, he ends up with the Vikings. Has a great – but I just remember how crazy it was that whole time, with the agent situation around Ohio State football and what all went down. And later that year, Vince Workman, getting in some trouble and things like that. But, the Chris Carter thing made total sense. You remember Maurice Corrett tried to get in the supplemental draft, and then Terrell Pryor did get in the supplemental draft, after he opted not to talk to the NCAA in 2011, and moved on to the NFL. So, OSU's had it's had its time in that history.
Yeah, certainly. That's the end. So that's Earl's last year too, right?
87? Yes, it was.
Yeah, he goes 6-4. Ohio State goes 6-4-1 that year, but they lost their best player. Spiels was on that team too, but
and Rick Bay. That was his and Rick Bay's last year.
both went that way. Yeah. It obviously worked out quite well for Chris. By the time he left Ohio State, despite not even playing his senior year, he was the all-time school record holder in receptions, yards gained, touchdowns, all of it.
Oh, crazy.
Was all of
what he would have done in a Ryan Day offense would have been really nuts.
I mean, it was unbelievable. Well, he got that eventually when he got to play with it was him and Randy in Minnesota. That's about as explosive as any offense we've ever seen. So when I thought about the supplemental draft, I thought of Bernie Kosar because he's the most famous example of it. So what Kosar did, which is a remarkable thing, he held a press conference in March of 1985 announcing that he was going to forgo his final 2 years of collegiate eligibility to enter the draft. He, at that point, said that he wanted to play for his hometown Cleveland Browns. Now, what he did, the NFL at that time only permitted college seniors and college graduates to enter the NFL draft. So you had to play 4 years of college football before you could, or college graduates. And that is the loophole that Kosar found. In the press conference, he announced that he arranged an expedited academic plan, 18 credits in the spring of 85, additional 6 in the summer, that permitted him to graduate from the University of Miami in time for the draft's eligibility requirements. Now, here is the thing that he did that's fascinating. In April of 1985, Bernie Kosar did not put in his paperwork for the regular NFL draft. So Minnesota was trying to get up. They had traded with Houston to obtain the top draft pick in order to draft Kosar. In the meantime, the Browns did a deal with the Bills to get number 1 in the supplemental draft. Kosar did not put in his papers, which led to the Houston Oilers, of all teams, because they were trying to draft him as well, suing the NFL. They threatened to sue the NFL, and the Vikings joined it that the draft should not go on if Kosar wasn't in it. Mm-hmm. Then Kosar's agent threatened to sue the NFL if Kosar was obligated to enter the traditional draft. So they used a loophole to get around it. The NFL then put in rules to make sure that this never happened again. But it's one of those great sliding doors moments in sports where they hadn't thought of that one yet, and Kosar and his camp did, Tim.
Yeah, and, back then, you weren't, as you just pointed out, you weren't permitted to leave after 3, years. I mean, he had redshirted and played 2 years, and, and people saw greatness in him, which was legitimate. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing because all these little things added up to guys being able to leave, after 3 years instead of like having to play out either their college eligibility or 4 years and stuff. And it's amazing. He had a double major when he left after graduating. But it was a crazy time, and it paid off for the Browns, obviously. But there's always these forerunners, right, who you think things have always been this way. They have not always been this way. And Bernie Kosar helped knock down those doors.
I think it's just a reminder for the audience that as crazy as you think college football is right now, the professional sports in this country went through all of this. They've already gone through all of it. I mean, we're talking about this Kosar thing. Remember Larry Bird. You remember what Red Auerbach did with Larry Bird. Larry Bird was drafted 6th overall in 78 after his junior year at Indiana State, did not sign, played his senior year at Indiana State, leveraged the Celtics to say, if you don't pay me this amount of money, I'm going to go into the draft in 1979. Yeah. They get a deal done. He ends up signing with the Celtics, and then they have to put in the Larry Bird rule where a player cannot declare for the draft unless he gives up his eligibility in college. Now, they've tweaked that through the years, but that was the reason that Larry Bird ended up on the Celtics. People talk about all the time how Larry ended up on the Celtics and Magic ended up on the Lakers. Magic ended up on the Lakers based on they basically bought the pick.
Yes.
Is what that was. Yeah. I mean, they bought it. They paid for it because an owner didn't have the money. to be able to do it. I can't remember if that was Stepien or if Stepien was the James Worthy one. I think it may have been Utah. I think it was a Gail Goodrich deal that ended up having Magic Johnson play on a team with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But everything that we're experiencing in college, where we say we've got to have guardrails, got to have this. Pro sports has already been through it.
Yeah,
and that's the thing that has to come in college football. You're going to have to make it pro so that there are contracts to protect the institution and to protect the player.
Oh yeah, free agency, man, was non-existent almost when I was growing up, in the early 60s and 70s, and Kurt Flood and all these other people came along and said, this will not stand. And it's just amazing how things have evolved now to the college level where the transfer portal, I just can't imagine being a head coach dealing with that these days, but they will figure out a way, as Ohio State has done this year.
Yeah, they will figure out a way. And really Urban talked about this, Ryan talked about this, Nick Saban talked about this. It's the NFL model, because then you can corral it.
Yeah.
You can sign contracts and you can deal with it.
That's what I said. If you remember correctly, we and I talked about this 2 years ago. The key word is contracts, and it's going to come to that.
Yeah, sooner rather than later, I think. We're all going to get smarter coming up next. Tim and I's great friend, Aaron Portzline, going to join the program. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Bobby Carpenter doesn't have a mullet, but he's knee-deep in mullet energy. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan.
Welcome to Reverse Aesthetics. Our medical weight loss program includes popular medications like semaglutide and tirzepatide, both of which are supercharged by our body sculpting treatments. For only $2.99 per month, under the supervision of our board-certified medical doctor, Reverse Aesthetics can help you achieve your weight loss goals while tracking progress quarterly. We have plenty of inventory and can begin treatment within 48 hours of your consult. Schedule now at reverse-aesthetics.com or call us at 614-656-4000.
Did your mobile provider just increase their prices again? Switch to Spectrum Mobile, the nation's fastest growing mobile provider. With Spectrum Mobile, you get unlimited talk, text, and data, plus nationwide 5G. Switching to Spectrum Mobile has never been easier. We'll pay off your phone balance up to $2,500. Stop dealing with price hikes from your cell phone company. Get Spectrum Mobile. Visit spectrum.com/it-pays-to-switch for full details. Offer subject to change. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
Is arthritic joint pain keeping you from doing the things that you love? Bone-on-bone pain in your knee, arthritic pain like I was having in my knee, maybe your hip, your back, your shoulder. Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Listen, there are exciting new cellular therapies that you can get lasting relief from. QC Kinetics is helping patients like you every day here in Columbus, led by Dr. Ray Tesner. I'm talking about cutting-edge treatments that accelerate your own body's healing properties, revitalizing your joints so you can move again. Listen, my dad was having knee pain. I was having knee pain. So we went over to QC Kinetics, and they were able to help us out. And 2 years out, I'm still feeling good. My dad can still move around. So learn how QC Kinetics can treat pain and enhance your joints and restore your mobility and give you long-term lasting relief with no downtime. So check them out. Go to 380-208-4544 or head to one of their offices in Dublin, Gahanna, or now the new one that's most recently opened in Grove City.
If you miss a little, you'll miss a lot. Search for your favorite fan shows wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe. Every episode comes right to your phone absolutely free. Modern technology, it's a hell of a thing. Do it now. The Fan.
O'Reilly. When your wiper blades do more smearing than clearing during a storm, it's time to replace them. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get a pair of Bosch Pure Vision wiper blades on sale now. Buy one, get one free. Offer is valid in-store only. Our professional parts people will even install them for free. Get a better view of the road at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
That's the sound of sweat falling drip by miserable drip, because your AC has decided to call it quits in this heat. But the Waterworks Heating and Cooling team never quits. So no sweat. The Waterworks offers same-day AC service to help you keep your cool this summer. And that sounds amazing. Call the Waterworks Heating and Cooling team, 614-333-9720, or schedule service on our website. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better AC.
Hey, what's up, Buckeye Nation? It's Cardale Jones. Join me Saturday, July 20th at Huntington Park for the Smiths Cardale Jones charity softball game presented by Monogram Homes and the U.S. Air Force. Come check out former Buckeye greats take on this year's current Buckeye stars such as Emeka Ibuka, Jaden Ballard, and many more. Come see and meet the Buckeyes before they hit the field this fall. Gates open at 5 p.m. Contests and prizes all night long. Home run derby at 6:30 and the game to follow. Tickets available at BuckeyeCruise.com. Why picnic when you can Smicknick? Get your $10 tickets now at BuckeyeCruise.com.
Swimming is a great way to exercise and spend time with family and friends. Always swim with a buddy, keep an eye on children, and be prepared in an emergency if there is no lifeguard on duty. The next time you go to the pool, be water smart and know where the safety equipment is located. Complete the Ohio Department of Health Safety Equipment Scavenger Hunt and learn more about pool safety at odh.ohio.gov/swim. Have a safe swim.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Pull up a stool and ask the bartender for something neat, because Uncle Beau is on the radio. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, let's get a little smarter on the hockey side of things. Jackets specifically. Our good buddy Aaron Portzline joins Tim May and I. He does so on the Bryan Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Of course, Porty with The Athletic. Boy, this has been a busy weekend for the Blue Jackets, obviously, Porty. Take me back to, let's start here, though. Let's go back to the draft. Did it fall the way that they wanted, that Don Waddell wanted it to fall? And how pleased are they with the way that everything kind of shook?
Yeah, it did. And I think you can say it did for the second straight year, where they felt very fortunate to have Fantilli fall to them with 3 last year. They knew they weren't going to get Celebrini this year. They knew they weren't going to get Bedard last year. So the next best player on their list last year, Fantilli, this year, Caden Lindstrom. They had several trade offers for that number 4 pick, including one that they were poised to take if Lindstrom went in the second or third spots. So they got some incredible offers. I mean, Philadelphia offered them the 12, a second-round pick this year, a first-round pick next year, and a player. I don't know who the player is, so that would make a bit of a difference. But for the number 4 pick, and they said no. They think that Caden Lindstrom can be a special player, a unique player. By the time he gets to the NHL, probably 6'5", 225, great skater, skilled and nasty, which if you've watched this team play the last 3 seasons, you'll take all 3 of those characteristics in spades.
Hey, Porty, how much do you like Caden Lindstrom? I mean, what just jumps out at you about him? That could he be an impact guy this year? I think you think he could be, but I guess how would you counsel the Blue Jackets on dealing with him?
Yeah, well, Timbo, nobody is saying right now what the expectations are for this coming season, because I think, first of all, nobody wants to speak out of turn and then have the kid come to camp
right
and claim a spot or go the other way. So it's all up in the air. My sense is that he's going to head back to Medicine Hat and have another year dominating the junior ranks. I think Don Waddell I think we're going to see a more patient manager in Waddell than we've seen in the past. I think there's been desperation here, really under all of the previous GMs at some point, to get guys here quickly and start to make this look good. I don't think Waddell's going to fall into that trap. I think Lindstrom goes back to Medicine Hat. We could see him at the end of next year if Medicine Hat's season ends while the Blue Jackets are still playing. But my sense is it's probably a tall order for him to get here so quickly. The thing I love about it, you asked if I like the pick. I love the pick in the sense that it gives you, in 2 years or 3 years' time, you can look ahead and see the center depth chart here of, in some order, Fantilli, Lindstrom, and Cole Sillinger. Put Dmitry Voronkov maybe in the mix too, but you now have something that the Blue Jackets have never had, certainly never had it homegrown. That's elite center depth. That's what all of the really good teams have. They've never had it here in 23 years.
Can I ask a quick follow? Have you ever been to Medicine Hat, and what is it all about?
I've been to Medicine
Hat. You
have?
have? Well, what's it all about, Beau?
Part of you been?
Is there a big hat?
I have been to Moose Jaw. I did not make it up to Medicine Hat.
Medicine Hat is in the Plains. It's a Plains town. I want to say it's a river town. I remember going there as a kid because they had indoor water park. That they had in one of the hotels, and that's the way our parents got it up there. Got us up there to Medicine Hat, is they had a pretty good water park that kids liked. So that I remember that very well with Medicine Hat. I've been there. Porty, the one thing you just alluded to was that youth down the middle and the skill in the middle and homegrown down the middle. Okay, this is what you and I have talked about many times, is let's nurture everything else around this. So in terms of the building up, and one thing is Don Waddell, I mean, he didn't draft these guys. These aren't guys he drafted. So the connection to some of these guys that they've let go over I mean, for example, like Blakenberg, you hate to see that, but also you get it. What do you make of some of the moves that he's made already, and what do you think? What can you glean from that in terms of what this team could look like next year, and then the big long-term plan?
Well, it's pretty clear that he thinks he can get at least a couple of guys in free agency. I mean, when you let the list should probably start with Boquist, who's played several games on the top pair with Berensky. He's being bought out if he clears waivers. Jake Bean not qualified, so he's been sent out as well. Blankenberg has been a depth guy here. He probably would have played more if he stayed healthy. He's gone now. So there's a need now for bodies. I don't think they want to bank on Jiricek or Matejchuk for sure being top four ready. I think everybody expects that sooner rather than later. But I don't think they're going to just carve out spots for those guys. I don't think that's how it's going to work. He identified several players here that he felt could not be impact players. And I wrote this a couple times last year. There's just too many bodies here for this all to make sense. I'm not talking all stars, to be clear, but just too much. It's just too crowded. There's too many people here. So I think he wanted to thin the herd and sort of clarify where people stand and what roles are going to be. And I do think they're going to be active today, or at least try to be active today and in the next couple of days in free agency.
Hey, what has jumped out at you in the first weeks or whatever of the Waddell regime that tells you he's finally going to be the guy? I mean, you just kind of touched on a bunch of that, but or is it just like we always do in the media? I mean, this get rid of this guy, bring in this guy. This guy's got the answer. Sure. With the Blue Jackets, it's been perpetual motion machine. What just jumped out at you, Porty, from a personal dealing with this guy's standpoint that tells you he's got it?
Well, the thing that's clear to me, and I've known Don, and not certainly friends, but I've known him for 26 years, ever since he came into the league with Atlanta as the GM a year before the Blue Jackets. The one thing that is just obvious is he feels absolutely liberated. When you consider where he came from in Carolina, where I don't think he could order new paper clips for the office without there being a 7-person committee to decide what are the best paper clips. Like, it was such a controlling scene where it's general manager in name only. And he comes here and it's like, he asks the owner, how often do you want to talk? And the owner says, every couple months. And he's like, oh, this is amazing. Like, it's his roster. He's making the decisions, and you just get that vibe from him. It's not reckless by any stretch. He's too smart, too experienced to do that. But he is absolutely joyed by this opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that people, this, and a great many of us know. I mean, there's plenty of negatives, I think, that people sometimes feel about Blue Jackets ownership, but a ton of positives in terms of what they are willing to do. The checkbook is open. You got free reign. It's your operation. Get it rolling in the right direction. So it checks a lot of boxes there, which brings us to a big decision he's going to have to make, and that's a coach. Do you have a timeline feel on that? This is obviously a crazy 2 weeks here for Waddell.
Yeah, my sense is that gets done by the end of this week or early next week. He said at the draft that the interviews hadn't even started yet. I think that's true, but I do think there's been some feeling out of certain candidates. I can tell you that McClellan is for sure a candidate. Woodcroft is for sure a candidate. I believe Evison is a candidate. And, sometimes people say, would they take the job? It is pretty clear, working sort of connection points to these guys, even if they're not speaking directly to it, they are absolutely excited by the job. And one of them said it plainly the other day. There's still some pain to come here, but this isn't like taking the job 3 years ago where you're just getting started on the pain. They've gone through a lot of the stuff of maturing these guys, of clearing these guys out. It could be a good time to become the coach of the Blue Jackets.
Yeah, I already named McClellan the Bud Kilmer Honorary Coach of the Week.
Tim already crowned him.
Or earlier in the show. So there you go, Porty. Porty, I wanted to ask you something personal. If you don't want to talk about it, it's fine with me. But how much different do you feel right now than you did 6 months ago from a physical standpoint and everything else? It's been well documented. Adam McKean did a great story with you and your donor earlier. I think it was last week or week before last. Just tell people how you feel, man.
Well, not to dodge the question, but I feel first and foremost blown away by the attention that it's generated, the fact that the NHL turned over part of the award show.
Yeah.
It was great watching my donor, Lindy, stand there on stage, and it's not in her nature to take all of the applause and the attention, and she had no choice but to stand there and just take all of it, which was awesome. I feel dramatically better. There's still some recovery from the surgery and that stuff. Sure. But in terms of how your organs are supposed to work and how you feel if they don't, it's night and day, right? It is absolutely night and day. And I'm reminded of how fortunate I am daily, but specifically on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays when the alarm used to go off at 4 o'clock to go sit through 4 hours of dialysis, and that's no longer the case. So all is good on that front, and I do realize how incredibly fortunate I am.
God bless. God bless.
No
Unbelievable.
kidding.
Beautiful stuff, brother. I know you're busy. We'll let you go, but appreciate you on short notice and giving us all we need to know on the Jacket side of things, my friend. You're the best.
Always a pleasure. Thanks, guys.
All right, that's the great Aaron Portzline, covers the Jackets for The Athletic on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. We get you with three things on a Monday. Up next, Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Wake up with The Fan. Eat lunch with The Fan. Go to bed with The Fan. Dream about The Fan. Then change your sheets. Gross.
Ew, you guys are gross, but stick around in case I don't find anyone else.
The Fan.
Low testosterone causes many issues, including low sex drive, bad sleep patterns, unproductive workouts, decreased energy, brain fog, and more. But many men just attribute these symptoms to aging and don't consider that there are medical treatments that can give them back their vigor and vibrancy. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, the leading men's sexual health practice in our area for treating low T. And if you're feeling like I just described, it's time for you to treat that low T. At Tri-State Men's Health, we're experts in treating low testosterone. We've successfully treated many men for the condition and seen the amazing difference that those treatments can make in a man's life. If you're like most men with low T, within just a few weeks, your energy will return, that brain fog will disappear, your sleep will improve, as will your workouts, and your sex drive will be significantly enhanced as well. So call us and make a true life change. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have two convenient locations, just off 270 in Hilliard and near the Medical Mile in Westerville.
It's the symphonic rock experience everyone's talking about. The Columbus Symphony Orchestra performs Windborne's The Music of Led Zeppelin, featuring conductor Brent Havens, a full rock band, and vocalist Randy Jackson. The hits of Led Zeppelin performed as you've never heard them before. Saturday, July 6th, the Columbus Commons. Get tickets now at picnicwiththepops.com. Full details at windbornemusic.com. Presented by Nationwide Picnic with the Pops.
The Ohio Egg Fest is back for its 10th year, presented by Specialty Gas House and Buckeye Cruise for Cancer. Join us for this big green egg grilling competition at Fortress Obetz on Saturday, July 27th. Enjoy all-you-can-eat food from 36 cook teams, live music from North to Nashville, cooking demos, giveaways, and more. Don't miss out on discounted big green egg grill packages with over $600 off retail and a lifetime warranty. Pre-order online at theohioeggfest.com today. Before they sell out, all proceeds benefit cancer research at the James. Get your discounted big green egg grills and your taster tickets now at theohioeggfest.com.
Hello, loyal listeners. listener, make sure to spend your summer with the Fan. Are you going on a road trip? Don't suffer through the bad playlists and hillbilly radio stations. Download the Fan app and take us with you. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for over 30,000 mouth-watering choices with savings beyond low prices, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. More savings and more inspiring flavors make Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Save big on USDA Choice Bone-In Ribeye Steaks in the value pack. They're only $7.99 a pound with your card and digital coupon. Limit 5. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
The best of rivals, the best of two leagues meet again this summer. MLS versus Liga MX face off in the 2024 MLS All-Star, starting Sunday, July 21st. After a weekend of soccer celebrations, MLS All-Star Skills Challenge presented by AT&T will come to Lower.com Field on Tuesday, July 23rd, featuring MLS All-Stars versus Liga MX All-Stars as they show off the best of their skills. The two teams will match up once more at the 2024 MLS All-Star Game, presented by Target on Wednesday, July 24th. For more information on tickets and events, visit MLSsoccer.com/All-Star.
Listen up, gamers. Mountain Dew has always been your go-to for a refreshing citrus kick. Now it's also your go-to for gaming rewards. With Mountain Dew Gaming Rewards, you just look for codes under the caps of specially marked 20-ounce bottles of Mountain Dew. Enter those codes online to bank points, and then redeem them for awesome gaming gear. Everything from gift cards, game copies, controllers, consoles, custom Mountain Dew gaming gear, and more. Join Mountain Dew Gaming Rewards now.
Open to legal U.S. residents 18+. Subject to program terms at mountaindewgaming.com and 1525. Voter prohibited.
Is foot pain keeping you from living life to its fullest? Life is too short to be dealing with foot, knee, or back pain. Come into the Good Feet store and learn how the Good Feet Heart Support System can help you get pain-free. Call 880-9255 or go to goodfeet.com to make an appointment.
Hot under the collar? Call Care Heating and Cooling and we'll fix that fast. 1-800-COOLING.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Weston Air Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
If you say something with enough confidence, it must be true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, Bake, what do we have on the poll today?
Well, Beau, the Daily Found poll over at 971thefan.com. What is your favorite part of the 4th of July holiday? Is it the fireworks, the cookouts, the parades, or celebrating independence? Cookouts is leading with 53.5% of the votes.
Yeah. I mean, I think you hope that you're celebrating the independence. You hope at some point you're discussing that and a little bit of it throughout the day. I would say, yeah, I mean, with the kids, it's the fireworks. That's usually the one. Tim, what's your favorite of those? Is Tim there?
I don't think he's got his mic on.
Fireworks, man. Fireworks. I forgot to hit the button and fireworks didn't go off. But fireworks, I met the guy that sets them off for Hilliard earlier this year and stuff, and he gets a real kick out of it. But he said I could sit up there with him, and I go, no, some of those don't go off. I don't want to be in that vicinity, but fireworks.
You don't want to be down there, brother.
No.
Nobody wants to be down there. All right, let's hit three things on a Monday.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Custom Air. Custom Air. Custom Solutions. Custom Comfort.
All right, number one for me, as I said off the top of the show, spent the entire weekend in Rockford, Illinois at just a monster youth lacrosse tournament. Grades like 8-year-olds all the way up through high school. Huge. So many fields, so many teams. It's basically sun up to sundown every day. And this is my one bit of advice, because I know they're opening one in near Powell, one that's coming, and they're going to build one of these giant ones, and we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Have something for the siblings to do, because it's all families that are abandoned, or what they are. You're all on your own. There's brothers, sisters who are walking around. They get burnt out. Have something. Have a playground. Have some shade. Have those type of things, so that there's something for them to do. Also, working good toilets, which this joint did have, very positive.
Good point. By the way, my older son Kyle and his wife Stephanie and my two grandsons went to a wedding in Germany last week and a half ago, and they had all kinds of jump, you know what I mean, the blow-up jump things and everything else for the kids. And I go, why doesn't everybody think of that? You know, but it is. By the way, my definitely when you're playing golf, try to be below the hole as often as possible when you're putting. Height of the hole, side hill lies killed me and our our scramble group up in Ashland over the last week, or we could have been like 14, 15 under. We had too many side hill putts below the hole. Just ask Akshay Bhatia.
Rory McIlroy, too, if we want to go back a couple weeks. Guys, today is one of the best days in all of sports. It is Bobby Bonilla Day. It is for the 14th time now. He will be getting a check for almost $1.2 million. He's got 11 more to go. He's been paid $16.7 million so far, around $12 million left not to play.
Isn't that beautiful?
It's amazing.
What a contract for him. God bless him. Number 2 for me. Here's the thing: I never been to one of these before, where there were truly just fields and games everywhere. And this is the first one of these with lacrosse, where there were multiple everywhere.
Yeah,
it's truly like a battlefield. A lacrosse ball is hard. If you're not familiar with one, it's like a giant Super Ball that you had as a kid. So it's damn near rock hard. It's heavy. And it comes caroming, and it bounces, man. Like, it really flies and bounces. I felt like I was walking through Normandy, buddy. There was stuff everywhere. Like, there were women getting taken out left and right, little kids getting bonked in the heads. It was nuts because there was no nets around the field. So people would just walk into a field and just get taken out by a ball. Keep your head on a swivel, kids, if you ever go to one of those.
Yeah, go stand behind the goalie in one of those. I did that one time in the Woody Hayes Athletic Center, the indoor field. Yeah. Where they practice sometimes, and it is stunning that a man will stand there with pretty much no pads on and a big old fish net and try to get in front of these things and block them. It is not easy by any stretch. My number 2 is IndyCar is coming to Mid-Ohio this week, and it basically it heralds the new hybrid engine for IndyCar. IndyCars are supposed to be having at their behest. Maybe up over 800 horsepower when they fully charge their batteries or their capacitors, whatever you want to call them, this weekend. It's going to be interesting, number 1, to see if these things actually work in racing conditions, and then number 2, what kind of difference it can make. But like with the Meyer-Shank racing team out of Pataskala and stuff, they've had definitely experience in the prototype realm. So whether they'll have a little bit of a leg up remains to be seen. But I'm curious because I've always loved IndyCar racing.
Yep.
Number 2 for me, guys, not only is Bobby Bonilla getting paid today, a lot of guys are getting paid not to play. Here's a few of the notables. Max Scherzer is getting $15 million from the Nationals to play for Texas. Manny Ramirez is getting $1.96 million from the Red Sox. Ken Griffey Jr., this is his last $3.5 million payment from the Reds. And how about this one? Chris Davis of the Orioles is getting $9.16 million today. Now, he won't be getting that much the whole time, but he'll be getting payments from the Orioles through 2037.
Yeah, he had that 1 year, right, Beck?
1 year.
Nuts, and they went nuts in paying him. Absolutely crazy. Number 3 for me. This I said before, like my oldest and Amy and I are watching Lost, like the series. It was on ABC years ago, which I watched in real time but haven't watched since. And so my oldest today, my wife is trying to get some things done, and the kids were asking me to do, can you do this, Dad? Can you do this? And my oldest goes, Dad, you're just like the Jack of Lost of this house. And I said, I think that's a great compliment, dude. Thank you. Very good job out of him. It made me very proud.
Yeah. My number 3 is prayers up for John Force, perennial superstar in funny car racing, who suffered a tremendous crash a week and a few days ago. Courtney Force, of course, married to Graham Rahal, is going to be racing at Mid-Ohio this week, but prayers up to him because clearly he suffered some type of injury to either his head or something else. It wasn't necessarily apparent immediately when they took him out of the car, but he's 75 years old. What's he doing going that fast in the first place? But prayers up to John Force. He's one of the most interesting people I've ever met. As I reminded him this year at Indy when he was there to watch Graham Rahal qualify, he cursed me out the first time he met me. So maybe he had things figured out, but John Force, prayers up.
I'm sure he's not the only one, Tim.
Yeah.
Last one for me, Rothman and Ice coming up next. Full show for those guys, AR, Matty Ice, CB, all here in honor of Bobby Bonilla Day. They will be going over some of the crazy contracts that we've seen recently signed in sports. They'll also have Patrick Murphy of Bucknuts on to talk some Ohio State as well.
And there you go. Tim, can't thank you enough for coming in today. It was a true pleasure and a great thrill, my friend, as always.
Totally enjoyed it. You know that, Beau. Anytime, man.
All right, the great Tim May, all day in studio with us today. Rothman and Ice up next. We're back tomorrow. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We've been your Jackets flagship station since day one. All the goals, all the action, all the memories. Your home for the Columbus Blue Jackets, The Fan, Ohio sports destination. This is a Fan Action Update.
The current Big Ten championship odds look like this. Ohio State is the favorite at plus 155. Oregon 2-1. Penn State comes in at 5-1, and Michigan is 7-1. Then a big drop-off. Then you get to USC at 25-1 to win the Big Ten. Iowa is 41-1, and Nebraska and Washington come in at 65-1. Luke Fickell and Wisconsin are 85-1 to win the Big Ten. For your Action Update, I'm Scotty Vegas.
Hey folks, it's Austin Ward. Know what's tricky? Producing a lot of compelling off-season football content. Know what's not tricky? Continuing to come up with reasons why you should do what I did and call Awaken 180. I dropped 45 pounds in just 10 weeks, and to this day, it's still gone, plus 10 more pounds. Calling it magic is an understatement. Awaken 180 isn't just about losing weight, it's about finding a new balance. Especially with that GLP-1 hormone everyone's talking about. GLP-1 Balance by Awaken 180 is the quicker, safer way to adjust what your body needs without relying on daily meds or injections. My doctors are impressed, and honestly, so am I. Awaken 180 is a sustainable change that's backed by more than just my success story. Over 22,000 others share the same success. If your doctor's pushing for another prescription, ask them about GLP-1 Balance by Awaken 180. The support doesn't stop when you hit your goal either. Free support for life. Check it out, awaken180weightloss.com. Doctor approved, Austin Ward endorsed.
Atlas Butler is built to keep you comfortable, and our plumbing services are no exception. You can rely on Atlas Butler for trusted, convenient plumbing and drain service. Our expert plumbers and drain specialists can take care of anything, from a broken water heater to a clogged drain. Call today, get it fixed today. That's our pledge to you.
Atlas Butler is at your service. Call 1-800-FURNACE.
Diamond Seller's Wedding Weekend is back. Shop buy one, get one half off wedding bands, 20% off diamond anniversary bands, and special offers on diamond engagement rings. Visit us at Diamond Seller's Wedding Weekend, Friday, July 26th and Saturday, July 27th on Sawmill Road.
We go to war for you. Burn injuries can be devastating, but you don't have to face them alone. Call Sugar Shinar Trial Attorneys today at 877-WAR-FOR-YOU. We go to war for you. WarForYou.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.